Rain or snow shower early tomorrow morning, then partly sunny by afternoon. The high tomorrow at 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
A frosty 27 under partly cloudy skies at O'Hare. Your next news update is 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you'll destroy your life. Listen to The Flot Line with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7. The Flot Line describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Listen this Sunday for inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flot Line with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Guys, if you've been feeling tired and grumpy, have noticed lack of motivation and drive, you may have low T. Low testosterone levels can cause weight gain, loss of muscle mass, and so much more. I recommend my friends at Low T Center. That's where I get my levels tested and have for the past several years. They make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. And with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Most insurance is accepted for treatment. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Special counsel Robert Hur's report on the president's handling of classified documents last week was doubly damning. Not only did Hur conclude the president had willfully kept, mishandled, and disclosed the documents, he then refused to charge Biden on the grounds he was mentally incompetent to stand trial. Not surprisingly, the president pushed back hard. So is the president's memory fine, in which case he should be indicted? Or is his condition as dire as the special counsel reported, in which case he should step aside for the good of the country? There's an easy way to know. The special counsel should release the transcript of the president's deposition. If the Biden administration is as confident in the president's powers as they claim to be, they should demand the transcript's release. And so should we. Let's see for ourselves exactly what happened. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
You are a creator. You've been inspired to design and craft incredible works of art. But nothing derails you like not having the right materials you need to get the project done. K&S Precision Metals prides itself on having the right metal pieces for you to be a maker. With a huge array of metal products for every part of your project, from beginning design to the finished product, K&S Precision Metals provides brass, aluminum, copper, stainless steel tubing, wire, and more. K&S Precision Metals only supplies the highest quality metal items. Each piece is pure metal with no lead or fillers. You can feel good that your project is made with metal manufactured right here in the USA. K&S Precision Metals are used by the medical and movie industries, artists, crafters, engineers, and educators. Family owned and operated in Chicago for over 76 years. Most orders are shipped within a day. Order direct at ksmetals.com. That's ksmetals.com. K&S Precision Metals. Our materials, your creations.
50 years of precision tooling. Now that's a lot of job shop work and custom parts. And it's why Bruscher Machining is the go-to CNC turning and machining company in Chicagoland. If you have a custom project, whether it's a single prototype or a short-run production of a few thousand pieces, give them a call today for your free custom quote, 630-876-1661. Or visit BruscherMachining.com. That's BRUCHER Machining.com. They also provide heat treating, balancing, plating, and surface coating, welding, and fabrication, plus project management. Bruscher Machining guarantees to consistently deliver high-quality parts and solutions on time for reasonable prices. Yeah, everyone says that, but the proof is in the tooling. Stop by to meet their team of seasoned pros and tour the facility located in West Chicago. To learn more about how CNC machining can turn your tough project into an operational reality, contact Bruscher Machining today for your free custom quote, 630-876-1661.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching: Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Cooler weather is here. Is your vehicle ready for the winter? Remke's Garage, your diesel engine and transmission specialist, can inspect your vehicle so you won't end up on the side of the road. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. The shop at Remke's Garage is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. When was the last time you changed your filters, checked your batteries, inspected your tires, belts and hoses, or flushed your coolant? Be prepared. Bring your Mercedes Sprinter, Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, or Isuzu diesel truck to Remke's Garage and have your tires inspected as well. Ask about the Fleetworthy commercial-grade Toyo Celsius Cargo all-weather tire, the premier tire to accommodate the rainy, icy, snowy, and cold weather we encounter here in the Chicagoland area. Don't get stuck. Remke's Garage is your diesel and Toyo tire headquarters. Visit remkesgarage.com, that's REMKES garage.com, and schedule your inspection today.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I wanted to tackle this topic of what Donald Trump said about NATO, because you had the big guy out yesterday showing he's still got the vim and vigor. He can still get on the attack on Trump, so he's fine. Mental acuity, not an issue. He's ready for this fight all the way through November. Trump's latest comments from a couple of days ago essentially being perceived and characterized as giving a green light for Putin to invade other countries in the NATO alliance who haven't paid up. The Wall Street Journal opined the other day his latest comments about the alliance will please Vlad Putin. Trump saying that recalling on the stump in South Carolina that a head of state asked him how you respond if a NATO member hadn't spent enough on defense and was attacked by Russia. And Trump said, one of the presidents of big countries stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? And he said, you didn't pay, you're delinquent? No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay your bills.
Yeah, pay your bills.
And this, of course, has the foreign policy establishment aghast, and it's another example of how Trump talks that lends itself very easily for the demagoguery of the left. The Wall Street Journal, Panjan drums, deterrence depends on a combination of force and will to use it. Trump boasting that he wouldn't aid an ally will sow doubt in the minds of our allies and might encourage Putin to think he can get away with another invasion, and so on and so forth.
Well, he shouldn't have said it. I mean, and of course, I told you what my friends in the Netherlands said. If Russia's going to invade Poland, Trump's not going to stop them because they haven't paid their bill. Like, that is not going to happen. Just relax. They don't know what's going on.
Your friends in Utrecht live in a town that has banned advertising for flying, for cars, and for meat. So your friends in the Netherlands are irrelevant.
Well, no, they're not, because they can still vote. And a lot of people, Americans, expats that live overseas and in Mexico, they can still vote, but that's a separate subject. But yes.
That's why, and yes, they are irrelevant because they would vote for a potted plant over Donald Trump. So they're built into the price. They're irrelevant. They're ignorant. They're hysterical. They're apocalyptic. In other words, they're center cut for the left. So trying to convince your expat friends in Utrecht, I mean, let's get real.
Oh, no, I know. I'm not trying to convince them, but I'm just saying that they hear everything Trump says and then they just take it to the next extreme. Like, oh my God! Like, you haven't lived in this world when he was president.
I thought they're expats. They pay
are.
no attention to what's going on in America.
No, they pay attention, but they don't get it.
Clearly, a lot of people.
Well, they don't
that
get the
aren't
crime
expats
on the street. They don't get the invasion. Well, not the invasion, but all the illegals that are coming here. They don't get Trump because they moved out in 2016.
Right. So they don't have they don't have the ability to process something happening in their home country. They don't have the ability to critically think. I got it. No, I got it. So as I said, center cut left. I can process something that occurs in a place I don't live. They can't. Interesting observation. Back to Trump.
Yes.
So that was the whole. This again lends itself to the hysterics and the moral indignation and the let me tell you something, sir moments that Biden and leftists think they have, as Biden believed he had yesterday.
But in recent days, those stakes have risen. And that's because the former president has sent a dangerous and shockingly, frankly, un-American signal to the world. Just a few days ago, Trump gave an invitation to Putin to invade some of our allies, NATO allies. He said if an ally didn't spend enough money on defense, he would encourage Russia to, quote, do whatever the hell they want, end of quote. Can you imagine a former president of the United States saying that? The whole world heard it. The worst thing is he means it. No other president in our history has ever bowed down to a Russian dictator. Well, let me say this as clearly as I can. I never will. For God's sake, it's dumb, it's shameful, it's dangerous, it's un-American.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Trump is the end of democracy. He's the end of the world. Everything is end times for the left. And right, he's un-American. He's an insurrectionist. He's all of these things. And so, by the way, are you the Trump voter?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
So he is not bowing down to a dictator. I mean, talk about shamelessness. The people who invented and perpetuated and continue to perpetuate the Russian collusion hoax. People that ridiculed Mitt Romney in 2012 when he talked about the threat that Russia posed, Putin posed. People that have gone softer on enemies of America than Trump or anybody else since Jimmy Carter has. Russia, Iran, China. That's not what he's doing. And of course, if you were fair-minded and you had paid attention over the last 8 years, you'd be able to do a little bit better job getting to a fair reading of what Trump is doing. And again, I'm not a particular fan of the way he communicates, as I've said from the beginning, as I actually said 30 years before he ever ran for president. I'm not a really big fan. The lack of specificity, the sort of disjointed stream of consciousness, not my flavor.
Right.
However, let me outsource this to Tyler Cohen, somebody who is not a Trump fan. Tyler Cohen, who's an econ professor at George Mason University, very sharp guy. He wrote on his blog, Marginal Revolution, which is a blog for the critical thinker. So that disqualifies, or that would, doesn't disqualify, it would render uninteresting this blog for your friends in Utrecht and most of the left in this country. Longtime readers, Tyler Cohen writes, will know I am not fond of Trump, either as a president or otherwise. And I am very fond of NATO. But on this issue, I think he's basically correct. Yes, I know about all the backlash efforts, but so many NATO members do not keep up serious defense capabilities. And for decades, none of our jawboning has worked. Personally, what I would have proceeded or spoken as Trump did, and I do not address the collective action problems in my own sphere of work and life in a comparable manner. If you're not ready with enough publications for tenure, we'll let Bukele take you. I mean, right. But this is the way Trump talks. So if you wish to take that as a condemnation of Trump, so be it. Nonetheless, I cannot help but feel there is some room for an unreasonable approach on this issue, whether or not I'm the one to carry that ball. Even spending 2% of GDP would not get many NATO allies close to what they need to do. I strongly suspect many of those nations just don't have effective fighting forces at all. In essence, they are standing at 0% of GDP, even if their nominal expectations hit 1.7%. There's 2% on your military, not NATO dues, by the way. You need to, this is the whole welfare queen problem. You need to be able to protect yourself, to defend yourself, and to aid the collective defense. That's why we put together this little North Atlantic Treaty Organization, folks. Remember the report, going back to Cohen, that the German army trained with broomsticks because they didn't have enough machine guns? How many of those forces are actually ready to fire and fight in a combat situation? It's far from obvious that the Ukraine war has fixed the situation. The nations that see no need to have workable martial capabilities are all a real threat to NATO. And yes, this includes Canada, which shares a very large de facto Arctic border with Putin, full of valuable natural resources. Even the United States, led by Nikki Haley, cannot do all the heavy lifting here. What if the U.S. is tied down in Asia and or the Middle East when further trouble strikes? That no longer seems like such a distant possibility. And shouldn't Western Europe over time really become foreign policy irrelevant relative to the more easternmost parts of NATO? That too is not good for anybody. With or without Trump's remarks, we are likely on a path of nuclear proliferation starting in Poland. The best scenario is that Trump raises these issues. Everyone in Canada and Western Europe screams, they clutch their pearls, are horrified for months, but over time the topic becomes more focal and more ensconced in their consciousness. Eventually, even the Dems may pick up Trump's talking points as they've done with China. Perhaps 3 to 5 years from now, that can lead to some positive action. And if they're calling his words appalling and unhinged, as indeed they are, well, that is going to drive more page views. So he goes on to just conclude, if you're worried about Trump encouraging Putin, that is a real concern. But the nations on the eastern flank of NATO are all above 2%, Bulgaria accepted. Maybe this raises the chance that Putin is emboldened to blow up some Western European infrastructure, make a move against Canada in the Arctic. I still could see that risk as panning out into greater preparedness, greater deterrence, and a better overall outcome. So on this one, Trump is indeed the Shakespearean truth teller, and I hope for the better. Tony in Downers Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, Amy. So, Dan, I think maybe you accidentally said something that's spot on. You said lack of specificity in stream of consciousness by Trump. And I think that represents the whole Republican Party. Unfortunately, we're going to spend the first 10 minutes of your show or however long talking about another thing that Trump said and how we have to, how it has to be reinterpreted and defended instead of attacking what Biden's done, how he's performing, how the Democrats have performed on the border. Instead, it gets turned around by the media that it's the Republicans. And an example, you get Mike Johnson, who says he wants the border issue to be put back into the bill with the Ukraine funding, which this is just idiotic. Scott Walker came on yesterday and he was talking about what the Republicans, what they need to start doing. Well, they haven't already started doing it. They're in trouble.
Thanks for the call, Tony. We got to go, but let me say something to that, and then we'll pick it up on the other side. The difference is, again, I don't like Trump's communication style, the lack of specificity, the stream of consciousness. I didn't accidentally said that. I purposely said it because that's my belief. That's my viewpoint.
Well, you've said that all along.
Yeah, and so, but he has a point with what he's saying, even if I don't like what he's saying it. Where so much of the rest of the Republican Party doesn't have a point for what they're saying. That's a big difference. All right, coming up at 5:38, we'll continue this conversation and move on to other POTUS matters, including this report, speak of the devil, about the deep state targeting the Trump campaign in 2016. It's relevant because the story we've been told doesn't turn out to be true, according to new reporting by Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi. That's at 5:38.
And later, a Chicago Democrat said it's time to defund the migrants. But now let's head into the newsroom. Say good morning and happy Valentine's Day to Mike Scott. Mike, what'd you get your beautiful wife?
It's a secret.
Oh, that means you didn't get her anything. Yeah.
We don't do much for Valentine's Day. It's not our thing. 5:34 on AM 560, The Answer. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has been impeached by Republicans in an historic House vote after failing last week.
On this vote, the yeas are 214 and the nays are 213. The resolution is adopted.
Things now head to the Senate, where an acquittal is almost certain. A vehicle crashes into an Austin, Texas emergency room. Fox's Bill Malugin is there.
This car crashed into a hospital emergency room. It happened at the Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services. The driver of the sedan is confirmed to be dead. At least 5 others are injured. Authorities are saying as of right now, it does not appear to be an intentional act.
Of the 5 injured, 1 treated at that hospital. 2 adults and 2 other children were transported to other hospitals. It looks like Democrat Tom Suozzi is the winner in the closely watched special election on Long Island to replace expelled Republican Congressman George Santos in New York. Inflation higher than expected in January. Government figures out yesterday showed the consumer price index rose 0.3% last month. Americans paying more for goods and services. A typo sent rideshare company Lyft stock surging Tuesday. The company's fourth quarter earnings statement estimated its gross margin to increase by 5 percentage points. It was supposed to say a 0.5 percentage point. Chicago police this morning are searching for a child abducted on the southwest side. 9-year-old Dana Gonzalez was last seen yesterday. She may be in the company of her mother. Mayor Brandon Johnson silent after taking the controversial position to not renew Chicago's contract with ShotSpotter, going against the wishes of his police superintendent Larry Snelling.
We have documented just through giving officers awards for it life-saving awards, over 150 incidents where officers have applied tourniquets and life-saving techniques.
And Alderwoman Sylvia Tabares, who was for re-engaging with ShotSpotter.
We're here to tell the mayor that he's wrong, that he needs to change his decision and listen to the community.
The contract set to expire Friday. The mayor will then decommission use of the gunshot detection technology September 22nd. Makes good on a promise during the mayoral campaign by Johnson. The Darien Park District is being sued over claims that a young girl was sexually assaulted on district property. A lawsuit was filed Monday in Cook County Court. And Wilmette residents filled the room last night at a board meeting, saying they're appalled and ashamed that trustees chose to approve unanimously an agreement with Evanston over construction and use of Northwestern's approved Ryan Field. Chicago sports. Bulls will try to get on keep that winning streak going when they take on Cleveland, coming off a win over Atlanta. Blackhawks on a 7-game losing skid after losing to one of the best in the NHL, 4-2 to Vancouver at the UC last night. Baseball back on for the Cubs and White Sox. Spring training in Florida and Arizona kicking off today. The news, a service of Fox Valley Coins, buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare date, proof, and min sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes there are scary people among us.
I have known all my life that the battle for good is a very, very difficult battle. So this doesn't surprise me between Hamas and Israel that there are people who are neither Jew nor Muslim, and they support Hamas. These people are frightening, actually.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Journey with me, Mike Gallagher, and Dr. Sebastian Gorka on the Patriots Alaska cruise this summer. It's going to be an incredible opportunity to engage with other like-minded patriots on an epic 7-day cruise over 4th of July. Witness the untouched wilderness of Alaska while discussing America's future. Join Dr. Gorka and me, Mike Gallagher, from June 29th through July the 6th. Call 855-565-5519 or reserve online at patriotsalaskacruise.com.
Tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman.
Plan ahead for the dangerous situation so that they don't affect you and you can weather the storm and just sail right over it.
Call Steve for your own free consultation today at 833-945-7283, 833-945-7283, and be sure to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code RADIO.
It's 540 on AM 560, The Answer. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of our friends at Chicago's Gaelic Park House Raffle. Enter to win a brand new home or $450,000 in a cash prize. $100 per ticket. Drawing held March 24. Visit Chicago Gaelic Park House Raffle.com. Traveling this morning on the Edens in Kennedy. pretty smooth. Dan Ryan starting to jam up on the south end, 95th to 79th. Bishop Ford and I-57 slow, especially on the inbound Ford between the Stony Island feeder and the Ryan merge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast in our QC Kinetics Weather Center. Clouds and breaks of sun today. High 45, cloudy overnight, bit of snow, maybe a bit of rain, and a low of 36. Clear skies, 26 right now at O'Hare, 27 Midway, 21 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We were talking about the effort by the D.C. press corps and that president they're trying to prop up, the big guy, Mr. 10%, to turn Trump's most recent comments about NATO on the stump in South Carolina into Trump, Putin, Helsinki 2.0. No, it's danger. It's the same thing we've been hearing about Trump for the past 8 years. You can't have this guy with nuclear codes. It's going to be World War III. Right. It's going to be end of the world, nuclear holocaust, and then now you layer in he's an insurrectionist, threat to our democracy, we'll never have another election if he were reinstalled by the MAGA cultists, and so on and so forth. Talking about that, and what Trump, who's frustrating the way he communicates to me, less so to a lot of Trump fans, I understand. This is what creates this cauldron around him, the way that he communicates.
Well, it's typical Trump loose talk in my mind. And should he have said it? No, I mean, Russia is invading. Ukraine's not a NATO member, but I can bet my life that no matter who's in office, if Poland is invaded by Russia or Finland, or you name the country, we would be there to defend them.
The point I was making before we jumped over to Mike Scott's newscast is that unlike most politicians who try very hard to not say anything, string together cliches and newspeak vocabulary, Trump actually has a point with what he is attempting to say in the way that he says it. And this is what even a egghead like Tyler Cohen was able to pick up on in terms of his response to this latest contretemps. That's important. There is actually a point. He's actually thinking about something. He actually has a position, and he is rarely dogmatic about the positions he takes. He moves around, but he has a position, and he is going to act in furtherance of that position. So as soon as you understand what the position is, if it's unclear, many times it's not. Many times it's very straightforward, very conversational the way that he talks or conveys his view on something. But again, you know where he's going to go, and there's a lot to be said for that. Because then you can argue honestly about whether or not that's the right place to go or not.
Well,
as opposed to the couched language, the misdirected language, the agitprop, the sort of double meaning that you have to decipher from most politicians who will say one thing to your face while they're simultaneously doing something very else behind closed doors.
It's another example of Trump putting America first. Like, hey, we're sick of paying for everything. Pay your fair share.
It's more than that, though, as Tyler Cohen pointed out. Listen, NATO is not an alliance worth much if NATO members aren't contributing to the alliance's overall ability to defend member states, right? Pretty straightforward concept. You have to pull your weight, not just because I'm tired of fronting the cash for you, but because the alliance isn't as strong as it could be in promotion of peace in the West if you're not holding up your end. This is a team effort. Pretty straightforward. Tom in Mount Greenwood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Tom.
Tom, are you there? Okay, Tom.
No, Tom. Bill, Northwest Side.
The Europeans get 6 weeks paid vacation every year. They have free health care, and they can retire when they're 50. Why are they able to do that? Because we're the fools paying for their defense. As a matter of fact, Trump didn't go far enough. They not only need to pay up, they should be paying us for us to be there defending them.
Thanks for the call, Bill. Well, I mean, yeah. The flip side is, a question about troop levels in places in Western Europe. That's another way to incentivize them to provide a little bit more for their own protection and the larger protection of the alliance in the case of NATO. Something else, though, too, as I mentioned, the Russian collusion matter, since this is all Russia all the time right now because of Tucker's interview with Putin and because of Trump's comments on NATO, and because this is an opportunity, as I said, let's roll the big guy out there and have him do the Russian collusion, Trump's a Putin stooge, Manchurian candidate deal, and it'll make him look like, he's got that fight. He's fine. Don't believe her report. Don't believe what you saw on Thursday night. He's, he has his moments, but he's still got the old 1-2. Yeah. Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi reporting. CIA had foreign allies spy on Trump team, triggering Russian collusion hoax. I know you all know, paying attention, that there was deep state spying on the Trump campaign. But there's a wrinkle here that's important. It was initiated. The report here is it was initiated by CIA. It wasn't George Papadopoulos said something to an Australian diplomat, and that's how the deep state got on this beat because they were just tracking down this tip that they got. No. That's not what we understand, per, again, the Schellenberger-Taibbi reporting. Multiple sources tell Public and Racket, Public is Schellenberger's outlet, Racket is Taibbi's, that the United States intelligence community, including the CIA, illegally mobilized foreign intel agencies to target Trump advisors long before the summer of 2016. The new information fills many gaps in our understanding of the Russian collusion hoax and is supported by testimony already in the public record. Until now, the official story had been the FBI's investigation began after Australian intel officials told U.S. officials that Trump aide had boasted to an Australian diplomat that Russia had damning material about Hillary Clinton. In truth, the United States intelligence community asked the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, that's U.S., U.K., Canada, Australia, New Zealand, USIC intelligence community asked the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, those four nations, to surveil Trump's associates and share intel they acquired with U.S. agencies. In fact, Obama's CIA director, Red Diaper Baby John Brennan, had identified 26 Trump associates for the Five Eyes to target. A source confirmed that the intelligence community had, quote, identified them as people to bump or make contact with or manipulate. They were targets of our own intelligence community and law enforcement, targets for collection and misinformation. So this was not a response, an opportunity, even if you want to take it in the most cynical light that it was reported previously. It wasn't just reasonably tracking down some intel that came, over the wire. It wasn't even just seizing an opportunity because, this fell into your lap. No. It was orchestrated from the outset prior to the summer of 2016. So the last half of that campaign season, prior to all that. from the start. It was cooked up by the U.S. intelligence community. John Brennan was writing point, identifying more than 24 Trump aides, bump them, dispatch our resources, go interact with them, gather information, spread misinformation, work with foreign governments and their intel agencies to do so as well. That's a pretty big deal. Because remember what the official story was from the D.C. press corps in 2016, all the way through 2020. And it persists to this day.
There you go.
All you have to do is watch Adam Schiff in one of those Senate candidate forums in California. It persists to this day. Here's a little flashback. Trump sitting down in the 2020 cycle with Leslie Stahl for a 60 Minutes interview. Take a listen to this. Hearing this report from Taibbi and Schellenberger. Now take a listen to this exchange from 4 years ago.
Watch him walk out of a store, and he's walking with an ice cream. And the question the media asks him, what kind of ice cream, what flavor ice cream do you have? And he's in the midst of a scandal.
He's not.
And he's taking,
He's
of course
not.
he is,
No.
Leslie.
Come on.
Of course he is. It's the biggest, second biggest scandal.
So-
the biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign,
There's no
Leslie.
real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? You know, this is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't
No,
verify.
you won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't
Look, let
put
me tell
on
you.
things we can't verify.
Leslie, they
And-
spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
It's been, just go down and get the papers. They spied on my campaign, they got caught.
No.
And then they went
Oh,
much
my
further
gosh.
than that, and they got caught. And you will see that, Leslie, and you know that, but you just don't want to put it on the air.
As a matter of fact, I don't know.
You know what I hate about reporters who they hear something they don't like and they immediately say, no, we can't verify it. They hadn't even tried to verify it. She just doesn't want to hear it. I can't. It goes against everything we're supposed to believe.
Have they issued a follow-up? I mean, maybe not even a correction if you were saying, well, we couldn't verify it at the time. Follow-up on that, Leslie, after the Durham report concluded that the case should have never been opened. And, of course, there was spying. But, again, the official story was well precipitated by this happenstance encounter between an Australian diplomat and Trump aide George Papadopoulos. And now we know, at least if this reporting from Taibbi and Schellenberger is accurate, and we have a lot of reason to give them the benefit of the doubt, that it was cooked up from the outset, well before we thought. And anybody going to whistle John Brennan before Senate or House committee? Anybody want to focus in on this? I hope so. I hope the Trump campaign picks it up. I hope the GOP picks it up. This is not inconsequential. This is not, just more deep state, roll your eyes kind of stuff. You want to talk about reckonings that are required. Well, the reckoning that will and should come if Trump were reelected in November, you need to set it up. You need to set up what you're going to do as president by making sure people have a full appreciation for this sort of information. Greg and Schomburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Amy. Welcome back. Dan, everything that you have said this morning since the show started, I'm in sync with totally, meaning that I totally get how Trump talks. I understand how we have to explain it away. I understand the sources you're citing that have made a case for why he might be right. I understand the Leslie Stahl thing, which increasingly Americans, but not enough Americans, look at being stoned to death with popcorn. But here's what I think. The Republican Party and Trump, there needs to be a critical mass behind Trump that elicits this out of him. We are at a point where we are at the stage of World War III. We are at a stage where our economy can be decimated by the dollar not being the world standard. And I know you don't agree with that. I think there's a lot of great credence for that on a number of levels. We're really in trouble. And the world could go instantly back to the dark ages if we don't have really good leaders. Now, how could Trump do that? One, assume a servant leadership position that's congruent with what I believe is his born-again status, largely as a reflection of Melania and the Catholicism that she brought into the equation in the White House. Number two, be sensitive to the fact that servant leadership brings out the notion that you have to understand the language to which you are leading people and be very sensitive to it. And if he were to do those two things, and just the Leslie Stahls of the world, all of that, don't dwell on it. Just say, okay, that's the way they are, but here, I'm going to be what John Kennedy asked, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. We're going to go to the moon in 10 years. We're going to solve this problem. That's what's needed by Trump in order just to shoo this thing in for him. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Greg. I mean, again, those recommendations are fine. And you're going to see flashes of Trump probably exhibiting some of those qualities that you desire he exhibit on a more regular basis. But you're also going to see moments where he punches down, where he is imprecise and off the cuff and talks himself into a corner. Because that's who he's 77 years old.
I know, but then they'll say he's too old. If Biden's too old, then Trump's too old to be president.
No, I'm not talking. No, I'm not talking about his mental acuity. I'm talking about his personality.
Right.
I'm talking about the way he communicates. I'm talking about his philosophy. The philosopher that best explains Trump is Norman Vincent Peale, not any religious figure. And you're just not going to change him. So, I mean, the point is, if I were, in the inner sanctum, you try to do what you can to round off some of the edges, to maybe just on the margins improve the focus a little bit. But in terms of changing the way he communicates, you're not going to do that. So you have to be realistic about what you're dealing with and how he is going to operate on this landscape. And it's all hands on deck.
He did show some contrition, though, after he won Iowa. He did have his opponents on stage with him, which in 2016 Trump would have never have done.
He has
or 2020 Trump.
I don't know about that. He has moments. He has a moment. I mean, he has moments of graciousness too, and then he has moments that are, you want to avert your eyes. I mean, it's just it's all baked in, is my point.
Okay.
So this is all hands on deck to do whatever is required in terms of explaining the truth of his position on NATO and Putin, for example, as we've spent the last couple of segments doing, and everything else to carry water for this effort to get him back in, because the alternative is untenable. That's the reality.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, lest you think the Illinois political class is falling down on the job, there is a multitude of new legislative measures that we want to make sure you're apprised of. We'll do that at 6:06.
And Dan, did you hear about that wild shootout between Venezuelans, illegals, and Little Village residents? We'll tell you what that was all about. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Johnson not renewing the spot charter contract will get reaction. CPD searching for an abducted child. CPS will terminate the custodial contract with Aramark. Number 14, Illinois dominates Michigan, and the Blackhawks lose to the Canucks. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Democrats flip a red Republican House seat blue. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Winning a special election in New York to replace George Santos, the Republican expelled from Congress. And Tom Suozzi says voters are frustrated.
They've had it. They want us to come together and solve problems.
Suozzi beat Republican Mazi Pilip by almost 8 points.
Former President Trump claims the Republican candidate lost the special congressional election because she failed to endorse him. He lashed out on social media, calling Republican Mazi Pilip a very foolish woman, and asked the GOP to put up a real candidate in November when the winner, Democrat Tom Suozzi, must defend his seat.
Fox's Carmen Roberts. The Republican House majority will get even tinier now. They barely had the votes, 214-213, to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary, blaming Alejandro Mayorkas for record illegal immigration.
Well, the goal here was to show the American people that Republicans are on the side of of border security.
GOP Congressman Lance Gooden tells Fox.
Got to the point where we were seeing this executive administration, in this case DHS, not enforcing laws that Congress has passed.
Now, in the Senate, Democratic Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calls impeachment a new low for Republicans. It would take 67 votes to convict and remove Mayorkas, so even some Senate Republicans call it a waste of time. President Biden calls it a petty political game. There has been an all-night standoff in Sheridan, Wyoming, where a police officer was shot and killed by a trespassing suspect who's been barricaded in a home in an hours-long standoff. A days-long manhunt is over in Tennessee.
Blount County Sheriff's officials say Kenneth Wayne DeHart is in custody. The 42-year-old who was found in Knoxville accused of fatally shooting a deputy and injuring another during a traffic stop last week. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issuing warrants charging him with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and being a felon in possession of a firearm.
That's Fox's Kristen Goodwin. America's listening to Fox News.
.26 degrees in Chicago at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago police are searching for a child abducted on the southwest side. 9-year-old Dana Gonzalez was last seen on South Nottingham Avenue, and she is in the company, they say, of her mother. Mayor Brandon Johnson silent after taking the controversial position to not renew Chicago's contract with ShotSpotter, going against the wishes of his police superintendent and Alderman David Moore.
At this senior building, I would constantly get calls about shootings. When they implemented ShotSpotter, those calls went down.
The contract set to expire Friday. The mayor will decommission the use of gunshot detection technology on September 22nd. In the Inglewood community yesterday, Alderman Anthony Beal says that's intentional by the mayor.
You want to wait until all the dignitaries come from around the country and then cancel ShotSpotter the month after they leave? What about the people that are here every single day? That should be your focus.
The decision makes good on a campaign promise by Johnson. ShotSpotter has been rolled out recently in 7 new cities and is in 120 large and small communities around the country. Wilmette residents jammed into council chambers last night, angry that their trustees are choosing to approve unanimously an intergovernmental agreement with Evanston over construction and use of areas around Northwestern's approved Ryan Field expansion.
I'm in the direct line of fire from the construction and all the noise that's going to be flying up from the concerts.
During regular business last night, Village President Senta Plunkett said the deal protects Wilmette streets and residents.
One of the primary concerns we've heard from residents, namely traffic through Wilmette. And critically, this agreement prohibits any demolition, construction, concert setup, or takedown on Wilmette streets.
While the city is not pursuing a lawsuit, residents are lining up for a private lawsuit. Hinsdale South High School mourning the passing of a teacher. School announcing that Ryan Mott died Monday after suffering a medical emergency at that school. Counselors are being made available to students. A death investigation is underway after remains of a human fetus were found on Chicago's southwest side Tuesday afternoon. Police say a 24-year-old woman went to Christ Hospital and told staff where she had given birth to a child. Officers went to the address and found the remains of that baby. The Bulls will try to get a winning streak going when they visit Cleveland tonight. Coming off a win over Atlanta on Monday, the Blackhawks on a 7-game losing skid after a 4-2 loss against the Canucks. Baseball back for the Cubs and White Sox. Pitchers and catchers report for spring training in Florida today. Fighting Illini, no trouble in the Big Ten, sidestepping the Michigan Wolverines at Assembly Hall 97-68. The news is a service of the AM 560 store. Order T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. 6:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is sure Biden isn't the nominee.
We are in big, big trouble. The man is, and I'm sorry, it's unfortunate. It happens. I respect our seniors. I want Biden to live to be 100. He doesn't have 4 years in him, and you know it. What's this guy going to be like in 2026? 2027. He's not going to be the nominee.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we have represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress, but there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Just use the promo code GOLD. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
6:08. Let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Dan Ryan inbound right now, slowing up. Inbound from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. 15 minutes on that commute. Your jam 79th up through 71st. Again, police activity continues on I-57. Inbound right near the Tri-State merge. Suspect vehicles being pulled out of a creek while there is a manhunt going on in and around the ramps from northbound I-57 to 294, and that, of course, is the end of a police pursuit as well. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and some breaks of sun today, the high 45. Cloudy tonight, a bit of snow and rain at times late. Not much in the way of accumulation, low 36. Rain or snow shower early tomorrow morning and partly sunny by afternoon. The high tomorrow at 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Clear in 26 at O'Hare, 27 Midway, 21 in Aurora, 19 at DuPage Airport this morning. Your next news update, 6:30, Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Want to let you know what your state government is up to, because they're busy.
Oh, yeah.
Busy little bees. Who's been a busy little bee? My best comatose. Who's been a busy little bee? State legislators, all kinds of exciting legislative proposals have been filed. Not just Ann Staff-Murray, the communist representative of Downers Grove, filing legislation that would prevent parents from doing anything other than celebrating their minor daughter's abortion or their minor child's taking of puberty blockers, mutilating him or herself, and so forth. And if you try and get in the way of your minor children having invasive surgeries of their choosing, maybe at the behest of a teacher or friends, just the political culture, then we may have to take your kids. We at the state may have to take your kids, may have to look at you for possible child abuse prosecution. Of course, they're not your kids. That's Downers Grove. Downers Grove values, Downers Grove strong. And Stava Murray. State Representative Abdul Nasser Rashid is proposed legislation that would require all Illinois public school students to take an Arab American history class. So in 2019, all K through 12 government school kids had to take a unit of Black history. Then you had in 2020 the inclusive curriculum law mandating all Illinois government school kids have to learn about the contributions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender individuals in the teaching of Illinois and United States history. Then in 2021, mandate on all government school kids taking a unit of Asian American history, contributions of Asian Americans toward advancing civil rights and so forth. So now, Rashid, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, Representative Abdul Nasser, he by the way, lives in Bridgeview. Now he wants to get Arab American history and the contributions of Arab Americans in as required as well.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
So Abdul Nasser represents Bedford Park, Berwyn, Bridgeview, Brookfield, 13th and 23rd wards in the city, Cicero, Countryside, Hodgkins, Justice, LaGrange Park, North Riverside, Summit. Lives in Bridgeview. What about it? Hey, I mean, one identitarian turn deserves another. Blacks, LGBTQ, 2S++++++++, Asians, Arab Americans. Let's keep it going.
Scandinavian Americans. Why you forget about us? We helped build the city of Chicago. Shouldn't they learn the history of that?
Get your own legislator. Introduce your own bill.
I'll find someone.
Yeah.
But there's a better one, the compassionate legislation. SB 3499, the right to die. Did you hear about this one? I don't know if you guys talked about it while I was gone, but I was just shocked. You have to be 18 years or older, Dan. You have to be an Illinois resident. You have to have a terminal diagnosis with 6 months or less prognosis. Now, how many people do you know that they said you have 6 months to live and they go on living 5 to 10 years?
Well, the right to die is more complicated, and it requires a longer conversation. We've talked about this whole death with dignity, which is an Orwellian description of what it actually is, movement afoot in this country for years now. It's popularized in the Pacific Northwest. Oregon probably has the most aggressive assisted suicide law on the books. Washington State, California, of course. This is all modeled after what started in Western Europe. Your friends in the Netherlands. Right. Netherlands is, they've moved on to having the state kill people with mental illness. Canada is right behind them. So there's a lot to that. And, yeah, the state of Illinois doesn't kill enough people. So let's get them in the business of killing people that are dealing with a terminal illness or, again, the slippery slope being what it is with government, the mission creep being what it is with government, you'll get to mental illness, and you'll get to minors, and you'll reduce the time period, and there'll be exceptions.
Well, I mean, you have two verbal requests. You have to make two verbal requests within 5 days to your physician saying that you want this, along with written consent and requests that can only be made by the patient, not a surrogate. Not somebody that's got power of attorney over you. Yeah. Nothing's wrong with this, right? It's so barbaric. And who Assistant Majority Leader Linda Holmes introduced the legislation. What do we know about her?
People are burdens. This is the view of the state. It always has been. People are burdens. The problem with governance is the people. So we need to work around the people and do what's good for them, whether they like it or not. And that means getting rid of some people. In the womb, at the end of life.
Why don't they just call it what it is, assisted suicide?
Well, that's what it is.
I know.
And you get the
compassionate legislation.
Well, and you get the medical profession in the business of violating the Hippocratic Oath, further corrupting a profession that is already corrupted. So it's right to die. Some other highlights just on the identitarian front. Well, and this is education too. State Representative Janet Yang Rohr. She's from Naperville, that welcoming, toddling town of Naperville. All high school students should be required to take instruction in climate change policy. The legislation instruction would reflect the political positions of the current Illinois governor, coordinated, quote, in consultation with the director of the IEPA, who shall prepare and make available to school boards instructional materials and professional development training for educators that may be used as guidelines for development of the instruction. So there you go. The IEPA director, so Britzker's IEPA director will put together some agitprop that will then be used to train the teachers, who will then be used to indoctrinate the kids on climate change apocalypse.
Scare them now.
It's going to be a really robust school day. It's a wonder why only a third of the kids in Illinois' government schools can read at grade level, a quarter can do math at grade level. It's a wonder. Lots of new mandates. Let's see what else we got here. Good. Yeah. State Representative Flowers. Mary Flowers. She's an institution, and she should be in one. She has filed legislation that would mandate medical schools in Illinois teach students about structural racism against blacks in the medical profession. Quoting the legislation, the minimum required curriculum shall also include a medical humanities course that covers the effects of institutional racism on medical education, medical research, and medical care in the United States. That would be mandated at all of the medical schools in the state of Illinois. Of course. I mean, if identitarian politics masquerading as education is good enough for K through 12 government schools, certainly it's good enough for future doctors. Yeah.
I mean, do you remember when you were in high school, did somebody come in? Well, you went to a Catholic school, but we had somebody come in and talk about the environment and, population control. And I swear that affected the number of kids that I had and a lot of other women had. And I have a friend who texted, she's like, just for the record, we took heat when we were having our 6th child. Zero population growth was big, and we were told that we were irresponsible and contributing to the overuse of resources by having a big family.
And nothing's changed. And that was the population bomb, Paul Ehrlich, in the late 60s, that was debunked. Doesn't matter. Because they inculcated it into the curriculum, and so it persists regardless of the academic worthiness of the scholarship.
Yeah, I remember them telling you don't live on a farm, so you don't need to have 10 children.
Illinois State Representative Maurice West, he's from Rockford. He has introduced legislation to ban these words in Illinois' government schools. Chiefs, Redskins, Indians,
better
Blackhawks,
tell Kansas City about that.
Blackhawks.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't we already litigated this?
Among the high schools that Representative West hopes to ban, the high school names, the mascots. Oh, you thought as enlightened a state as we are, you thought, oh, we've got all the derogatory, racist, so forth nicknames. We've eradicated them all. Like, much like the toppling the Columbus statue in Grant Park. We've done all of the proper neo-Jacobin work. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to report these high schools will need to change their nicknames. Post haste.
Uh-oh. Don't tell me it's not going to be the Freeport pretzels, is it?
Don't make Representative West get ugly on this, okay? Putting you on notice. I mean, again, and most of these communities, like most of Illinois, are dutiful Jacobins who want to destroy everything that previous generations built and start Chicago and Illinois history anew, day zero tomorrow. So I don't think there'll be much fuss over this, but just a heads up in case there are some obstreperous residents of your community or that you know in a particular school district that will need to be talked to, will need to be put down, will need to be silenced. I just wanted to give you the heads up. You could be in one of these zones. Lake Forest High School.
What are they?
Scouts.
What's wrong with that? Okay.
Thornwood High School.
What?
Thunderbirds.
What's wrong with what?
Stockton High School. Blackhawks.
Well.
West Aurora High School. Blackhawks. I told you, if you didn't get rid of the Chicago Blackhawks, if you didn't take away the Blackhawks nickname from that Chicago hockey franchise, it would spur a bunch of copycatters, and now we've got a whole problem on our hands. And thank God we have Maurice West representing us in Rockford to address this. Applaud him. Bremen High School Braves. Shame. Anawan High School Braves. Deer Creek Mackinac High School Chiefs. Shame. Can't believe Travis Kelce wears that uniform. I can't believe Taylor Swift lets him. Cahokia Comanches. Cahokia High School Comanches. Oh, my goodness.
No.
Morrisonville High School Mohawks. Sullivan High School Redskins. KC Westfield High School Warriors. Crete Monee Warriors. Come out to play and change your nickname.
Warriors.
Granite City High School Warriors. Warren High School Warriors. Warren. Up there in enlightened Lake County, where you have Reinhardt not prosecuting violent criminals. Oh, come on, Warren High School. I would say pony up, but I don't want to be put in the crosshairs by Maurice West. Waubonsie Valley. I mean, this is right next door to Naperville.
That's a nice high school. What's what
Warriors.
Oh, boy.
Maine West Warriors.
Well, yeah, it's always the Maine West. They're not
Westinghouse Warriors. Brimfield High School Indians. Chicago Calumet High School Indians. DeCoin Indians. Carlisle Indians. Dakota Indians. Lewiston Indians. Johnston City Indians. Pawnee Indians. Pecatonica Indians. Payson Seymour Indians. Maridosia Chambersburg Indians. Minooka Indians. Mascoutah Indians. Marengo Indians. Moments Indians. Pontiac Indians, Sandwich Indians, Wayne City Indians. And by the way, right in his backyard,
what?
Maurice West knows the pain. Winnebago High School Indians. So
I think it's a way of honoring them. Indians used to
absolutely
work
not.
The land in Illinois. They owned it. They're part of our history.
Absolutely not.
Remember the Peking Chinks?
The horror show. Pekin.
We'd always play in the Pekin basketball tournament.
One more.
Yeah.
I mean, just to round it out, I want to give credit where credit's due. I want you to be fully apprised so you can feel the pride that comes with knowing that many of us, you, the suburbs, the exurbs, have put these people into office, and certainly your neighbors have. State Representative Aaron Ortiz from Chicago has sponsored legislation to make it a little bit easier for people in this state illegally, because they're in this country illegally, to get in-state tuition and taxpayer-funded colleges and universities, which is awesome. Exactly. It's a little onerous right now to get the in-state tuition if you're here illegally, and I think we should focus on the people that we care about most, as Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy said the other day, people in this country who are undocumented. That's the people we care about the most. Totally agree. So let's pick up the pace in terms of our assistance. Would remove the requirement that an illegal alien has lived with a parent or guardian and that they've attended Illinois high school for 3 years. Just remove that parent or guardian requirement and make eligible legal aliens who didn't attend high school but have a GED. And let's get them that in-state tuition to go to U of I.
Come on.
And your kid at, Wheaton Warrenville South with the 35 ACT and 4.0, we don't have room for him. Make sure you pay your taxes, though, because we got this kid from Venezuela who's got a GED. And
he really wants to indoctrinate himself into University of Illinois.
And is by himself, and he deserves that University of Illinois education on your dime.
That's BS.
Great.
God.
That's Illinois.
Well, so many kids got their acceptance letters or rejection emails, and that pisses me off if they do that.
Can you distinguish a legislator in Downers Grove or Naperville from Chicago or Rockford?
No. If
you heard all the legislation I sponsored, could you pick out the legislator from which community is sponsoring which? You couldn't. You couldn't. What does that tell you? Bill and Glen Ellen, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
In the 1930s, the Germans have the excuse that they didn't know what the socialists were all about. So we have 100 years of experience with these people. We know what's happening. We see it coming at us in slow motion. What's our excuse going to be when we finally reach that point?
And Bill, you're in Terra Costa Howard territory there in Glen Ellen. How's that going?
Yeah.
What do you say to your neighbors? Bang up job?
I'm saying that we're looking for our exit point. It won't take the Democrats away from us forever because they are not going to leave the red states alone when they have total control. Bill, you're in Glen Ellen and you're worried about what's happening in Texas or Florida. Yeah, because it's not. They think long term, Dan. And so we get out here, and then they'll come for us there too. So that's why we have to fight here as long as we can and try to take the state back. Well, I know. So what's happening in Glen Ellen is my question. Terra Costa Howard is a dope and a Jacobin and unchallenged. Yeah, I can't explain it. I'm not one of those people voting for these people. And I hear you. I hear you. Thanks for the call, Bill.
Got a text message, Dan and Amy. Shouldn't we have to
explain it.
Shouldn't we have to change the name of our state too? We're changing all these Indian names.
Whatever they want to do, I'm good with. Who can explain it? I have no idea what's happening on my block. I have no idea what's happening in my school. Who know? Who could know these things? These things are unknowable.
There's a lot of people out there like that, Dan.
Yeah, I understand. Well, there's a reason why things are the way they are. There always is.
Oh, yeah.
What's happening in Tennessee, Arizona? What's happening down the block? No idea.
I have a neighbor who works for a selective enrollment school. Has no idea that selective enrollment schools are going away. No idea. Like, what do you mean? You don't know this? How do you not know this? How are you teachers not even talking about this, about what next your play is? Because, you're so elite because you work in selective enrollment schools.
Robert, Bloomingdale.
Good morning, guys. How you doing today? The reason I was calling, instead of worrying about the Warriors and the Blackhawks, I think they should be worried about the 3 hours, reading, writing, and arithmetic. No wonder these kids can't keep up in math and so forth with the foreign kids in foreign lands. It's a terrible tragedy thing, and it's just continuing on and on. What do you think?
Is it a tragedy? I don't know. I'm having a hard time mustering the empathy this morning, even though it's Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, Dan.
So my heart should be full. But I'm having a hard time. This is sort of the same thing. Why is it different? The conversation different about the suburbs than it is Chicago? Like
we're all in the same boat now.
No, we're not actually. I got off.
Okay.
Why am I supposed to be interested in fighting for you when you won't fight for yourself? Isn't that what we say about Chicago? I mean, I hear a lot of suburbanites say, "Oh, hey, you're getting what you voted for." I hear that all the time in Chicago, getting what you voted for, good and hard, have no sympathy. What about in the suburbs? Isn't it the same case? So why should I care? Why should anybody care? Maybe that's a conversation starter at the block party, the Lions Club, the country club, church, the school sporting event. I mean, outside forces are supposed to prevent Tara Costa Howard from representing Glen Ellen. Is that what Janet Yang Rohr from representing Naperville, Ann Stava Murray, Downers Grove? Somebody's supposed to save you from those in your community with whom you disagree. I'm not voting for them. Is that enough? Does that approach working? Or is that good enough for you? I didn't vote for Tara Costa Howard. Oh, okay. Well, you have her. Well, I'm not voting for her. Oh, okay, but you're still going to have her. Yeah, but I feel good about myself. How's that different than the left? It's about my feelings. Coming up at 6:36, we'll turn our attention to the Middle East, since nobody seems to know what's going on in the suburban community in which they live. We might as well expand out to the Middle East, and we'll talk to Rich Goldberg about the pending foreign aid package that would include, of course, Israel and, of course, Gaza, Hamas as well. 6:36.
Yeah, he'll break it down for us. But now let's head into the newsroom. What is the forecast for this Valentine's Day, Mike Scott?
We'll get to that in just a moment. Stick around.
Okay, I will.
President Biden says history will not look kindly on House Republicans for impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Texas Congressman Lance Gooden voted in favor.
We've come to this point because our border is not secured. Secretary Mayorkas has ignored the will of the people. He has not followed the laws. He has instructed his department to not follow the laws that are already on the books.
Republicans accuse Mayorkas of failing to enforce immigration law at the southern border. Law enforcement agencies in Wyoming mourning the loss of a sergeant shot and killed during an attempt to serve a trespass warning. Sergeant Nevada Krinke of the Sheridan Police Department died Tuesday afternoon after being shot. One person is dead, 5 hurt after a car crashes into a Texas ER in Austin Tuesday night. The driver was pulled from the vehicle, was given CPR, but died at the scene. Today is Ash Wednesday. And Fox's Tanya J. Powers joins us with more on the significance of this day.
Ash Wednesday is the first day of Lent. And denominations receive ashes in the shape of a cross on their forehead. The ashes symbolize penance and are created from the palms used during the previous year's Palm Sunday Mass. Lent is the 40 days, excluding Sundays, leading up to Easter. This time, Ash Wednesday also falls on Valentine's Day, which has not happened since 2018. However, it will be a while before it happens again. The 2 days converge on the calendar again in 2029. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Chicago police are searching for a child abducted on the southwest side. 9-year-old Dana Gonzalez was last seen yesterday in the 5800 block of South Nottingham. Mayor Brandon Johnson, silent after taking the controversial position to not renew Chicago's contract with ShotSpotter, going against the wishes of his police superintendent, Larry Snelling.
We have documented, just through giving officers awards for it, life-saving awards, over 150 incidents where officers have applied tourniquets and life-saving techniques.
The decision makes good on a campaign promise by Johnson, who was swayed by a few cities around the nation canceling ShotSpotter, and a progressive activist group report from the Northwestern MacArthur Center criticizing some aspects of the technology. ShotSpotter has recently been rolled out in 7 new cities and is in 120 large and small communities around the country. The Darien Park District is being sued over claims that a young girl was sexually assaulted on district property. That suit was filed Monday in Cook County Court. Hinsdale South High School is mourning the passing of a teacher. School announcing that Ryan Mott died Monday after suffering a medical emergency at the school. Classes were dismissed early and counselors are being made available today. The mayor of Peoria is not joining the mayor of Chicago in responding to calls for a ceasefire in Gaza. Last night, Mayor Rita Ali said the issue is not the council's fight, adding that they don't have a vote on arming foreign countries. Chicago sports, Bulls try to keep the winning going. Coming off a 136-126 win over Atlanta, they take on Cleveland tonight. The Hawks lost to Vancouver 4-2. Fighting Illini, a Big Ten hoops win, throttling Michigan 97-68. Illinois State last night upset number 23 Indiana State 80-67. 6:36 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum sees more of the blame game.
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends.
Can you imagine how out of touch with reality these politicians have to be to think they can pull a fast one over on you? You cannot say that all of a sudden y'all pushed a loaded bill, Republicans did not want to do it, and all of a sudden this whole thing is our fault.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm here in San Diego. I mean, I surf, I'm active, I'm an ex-college athlete. Well, I decided, I'm going to try that Balance of Nature. Let's just see what happens. Like after about a month and a half, man, what a difference. That sold me right there. That's when I was like, this stuff's working, so I'm going to stick with it. And so I've been sticking with it ever since. And it's definitely helped, and I definitely feel good. Seems like to be the real deal.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
Are you ready to transform your bathroom into a comfortable sanctuary of luxury? Turn to Forever Remodeling. At Forever Remodeling, we're not just about aesthetics, we're about functionality. Picture a bathroom that blends style and practicality. Our skilled team ensures every detail is perfect from tiles to fixtures. If you're ready for your beautiful bathroom upgrade, schedule an in-home consultation and give us a call today at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's foreverremodeling.com.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel, not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
6:39 on AM 560. Let's check the roads and our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Tire Rack. Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive. Inbound Kennedy, 21 minutes O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. On this work from home Wednesday, apparently, the Ike is in good shape. 34 from 390 to the old post office. Bishop Ford does have stop and go traffic inbound Cottage Grove into the Ryan merge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and breaks of sun today, a high of 45. 26 at O'Hare, 29 at Midway, 21 in Aurora, 21 at DuPage Airport, and 30 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Pagliacci Schumer was out on the press avail yesterday talking about the foreign aid bill that's passed out of the Senate now. And, of course, talking about his longtime comrade. That would be the big guy. President Biden. Mental acuity. It's as good as it's ever been. Interesting way to put it.
First one, I talk to President Biden, regularly, sometimes several times in a week, or usually several times in a week. His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. I've been speaking to him for 30 years since we worked on the Brady bill and the assault weapons ban when I was a young congressman. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity is declined is wrong. He's going to win the election because he has a great record.
Okay, it's good enough for me. Let's move on then. And we should, by the way. This reminds me of the run-up to the debates in 2020, where everybody was talking about how, and Trump too, Biden's dead on his feet. There's no way he's not going to be able to utter a sentence, and so on and so forth. And I never understood that. Why are you participating in what the press wants you to do, which is to lower expectations for Joe Biden? What kind of sense does that make? And it turned out to largely backfire. So what kind of sense does it make now to obsess about this? He's not going to be able to serve a second term. Why is that your concern? Their party, he and their party are saying he's fine. If 85% of the American people see something different, well, then I guess they should vote on what they see. What do you want him to be replaced? Or do you want him to stand for election? Do people ever think through these things? Or they just, we're so trained to just sort of jump on whatever grenade is rolled out there by our opponents. Relax about it already. Everybody saw Thursday night. Everybody's seen the last 4 years. It's zipping around social media at the speed of light. So let it be. Focus on other things. Substantive things. Alternative visions for this country. People's quality of life concerns that begin with, frankly, their cost of life concerns. Oh, and by the way, nobody in the D.C. press corps had the heart to ask him, which I appreciate. It was very compassionate of them, very magnanimous, to ask Pagliacci Schumer. That presser on Thursday night, sort of buried in everything else that occurred that evening, was Biden again saying that Bibi Netanyahu's response to the Hamas terrorist attack was over the top. Over the top. You had Chris Van Hollen, who's a Marxist senator from Maryland, essentially say that Netanyahu, and by extension the Israeli state, are war criminals, though he voted for the aid package. Of course he did. Of course he did. Because, he's got Ukraine and it's got some other things in there, too, like this. $10 billion in migration funding. So $61 billion for Ukraine and $17 billion for Israel. $10 billion in migration funding.
What does that mean?
It's portrayed as humanitarian aid for Ukraine and Israel, but the text of the bill allows it to be spent on, quote, other vulnerable populations. Other vulnerable populations. You know how money's fungible? Like when Brandon Johnson uses COVID money to house migrants in Chicago? that sort of fungibility
Right.
characteristic. Yeah. So other vulnerable populations give some latitude, I would argue, a lot of latitude, open-ended latitude to POTUS to divert funds to, well, I don't know.
Palestinians, Hamas.
Migrants, sanctuary cities, other vulnerable populations, whatever they define as vulnerable.
And that's their backdoor way of federally funding this invasion that I believe we're having in our cities of Chicago, because they keep going back to D.C. begging for more money.
You say invasion, I say importation. When you're financing the entrance, when you're opening the door, I have a hard time calling that an invasion. You're bringing them in. That's an importation. But, I get that a lot of people like the other I word. For more on all of this, including what may or may not happen in the House on this legislation and what should, pleased to be joined again by Rich Goldberg. He's a former National Security Council official and U.S. Senate aide, currently senior advisor at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Rich, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning.
So what is your handle on this $95 billion foreign aid bill?
Well, as far as I can tell, it's dead on arrival in the House, per the Speaker. And so the Speaker, obviously, last week tried to move a standalone bill just to support our ally in Israel, while there was still obviously no movement from the Democrats to get serious about the border. And that did not get through the House. A number of Republicans joining almost all Democrats in voting against it. Now, that needed 2/3 based on the rule he brought it up on the suspension calendar. He could bring that bill back under a traditional rule that just needs a majority vote and put that back into the Senate and put Schumer back on the clock and Democrats on the clock to support our ally in Israel. That obviously needs more munitions and more support. While we continue to talk about the elephant in the room, which is our southern border. You've talked about it ad nauseum. Everyone's talked about it, and nothing is actually being done in a serious way to try to secure our own border. And I don't know how you go back to that caucus as the Speaker of the House and say, we're going to send this many dollars for economic and humanitarian assistance and all that to other places, and we won't do anything about the crisis in our own cities. We won't do anything about the crisis on our southern border. That is not to diminish the importance and criticality, in my view, of ensuring Vladimir Putin does not walk through Ukraine and then on to Eastern Europe. I think that would be a massive national security disaster, is to expose the problem we have on the other side of the aisle of not being willing to get serious and meet our own need at the same time. And, listen, he's the Speaker of the House. Republicans have the majority. It's on them to put forward a plan, in my view, and say what you're for. It's one thing to be against when you're in the minority. When you're in the majority, you should show the American people what you're able to do, and then show the American people what would happen if you took the Senate and what the roadblock is in Chuck Schumer. So if I were the Speaker, I would go ahead and write the bill the way you want it. Put forward the border requirements that we need to secure our border. Put the hardware, the dollars we need for the military equipment that Ukraine needs not to fall this year to Vladimir Putin. Put forward the dollars that Israel needs to finish off Hamas and stay strong against Hezbollah in the north and the Iranian threat throughout the region, and lob that into the Senate and force the Democrats to have to defend why they're opposed to it.
Well, on the House side, they have done that on the border. They did it a while ago, called H.R. 2. So, I mean, I guess you can, restate that and attach some aid to Israel, and that would be about it for me in terms of under consideration. Because I think one of the frustrations people have, talking about this a lot, is they're a little perplexed that we seem to be on both sides of these wars while we're getting moralized too about Russia in particular. Well, if Vlad Putin is such a bad guy, and he is, then why is our energy policy such that it enriches Vlad Putin, that it enriches the mullahs in Iran? So we're underwriting Russia and Iran, and then we're supposed to write checks to Ukraine. We're underwriting Hamas through the UN Relief and Works Agency, and then we're supposed to give money to Israel, but we're also going to give more money to Gaza residents, which is going to go through that same Hamas-sponsored UN agency. It's like I'm a little tired of being on every side of everything, and then if I oppose anything that would sustain that paradigm, then I'm
100%
I'm anti-American.
You are 100% correct, and I have said this repeatedly. Early on, when the president had made a supplemental request, I said, the president proposes, Congress disposes. That's the old motto in Washington. Write the bill way you want it. End all the sanctions relief for Iran that the president is continuing to provide today. There is money being transferred to Iran today under Biden's policies that is underwriting all of the fires throughout the Middle East that we see, from Gaza to Lebanon to Yemen to Iraq. It's absolutely nuts. Oh, and by the way, also helping Russia, because Iran's providing the drones and maybe soon ballistic missiles to Russia as well. They use Iran for sanctions evasion. We know that. So put that into the bill. Strip out all of this gunk that the president's trying to put in that, as you say, would fund both sides of conflict, that is completely without oversight and likely to go into corrupt areas, waste, fraud, and abuse. Stick with hardware, stick with the defense industrial base here at home, make sure we're focused on the primary threat of China in the future, and don't let our democratic allies fall on the battlefield.
Well,
and by the way, secure our border.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice. Well, speaking of waste, fraud, and abuse, what about American taxpayers' support for the UNRWA, also known as United Nations Relief and Works Agency?
Wow. So $6 billion from 1950 to 2018 to a so-called refugee agency. And just so everyone has context, there's actually a UN refugee agency. It's called the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. And then there's this other agency called UNRWA that was set up right after Israel's War of Independence because all the Arab armies wanted to keep a few 100,000 Arabs who had left their homes as political pawns and tell them, hey, we're coming back, we're going to push the Jews into the sea, don't go anywhere, you're refugees. There was an equal number of Jewish refugees back then that were expelled from Arab countries. They were all absorbed into Israel or the United States or Europe, wherever they went. But not these Arabs. They were kept in refugee camps. Fast forward 75 years, they're still considered refugees. Only their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren have all been considered refugees, all administered by this one unique organization that doesn't recognize Hamas or Hezbollah or Islamic Jihad as a terrorist organization, has schools to indoctrinate kids to hate Israel, hate Jews, grow up to believe they're getting ready for the Arab armies coming back to invade Israel and genocide the Jews. And then we're surprised, after $6 billion over 70-plus years, that this agency actually produces what its mandate is, and that is something like October 7th. Now, 2018, why did I use that year? That's the year Donald Trump cut off this organization and said, we're not funding it anymore. This is crazy. And in 2021, Joe Biden comes into office, flicks the light back on, and has funded more than $1 billion since 2021 to UNRWA prior to October 7th, and still wants to keep the money flowing even after we now know that their employees are Hamas. Some of them took part in October 7th. I mean, this is an agency that is the worst program on a good day for a U.S. taxpayer dollar to ever enter the door from. We should not be funding them a cent ever again. It shouldn't exist. There are other UN agencies and organizations that can do humanitarian work. It is time to dismantle UNRWA.
He is Richard Goldberg, former National Security Council official and U.S. Senate aide, currently a senior advisor at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Rich, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Patients everywhere are experiencing joint pain relief thanks to QC Kinetics regenerative treatments. So how does this non-surgical approach work? QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Aaron Wolkoff explains.
Is like when you get a paper cut and the cells that come onto that scene first stop the bleeding, and then it recruits more cells to form new skin and new soft tissue. And then you look down a week later, 2 weeks later, and it's like nothing happened and that paper cut never existed.
In this same way, QC Kinetics uses your natural biologics to help repair and restore aching knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
We take those same similar cells in different areas that are arthritic, are painful, and we cause this kind of internal self-healing that can resolve patients' pain.
Relief without surgery. See if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics regenerative treatments.
Call QC Kinetics 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Guys, it's a new year, and Low T Center can help make it a great one. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have noticed lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain or loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Trust my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked, have the past 8 years. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office where you have a long wait. It's concierge medicine exclusively for men. They have affordable and convenient options for treatment, including physician-monitored, self-inject treatments that ship directly to you each month, so there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. And right now, Low T Center is only $25 to get your T-level tested. Make your health and quality of life a priority and make it a great year. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time. I called Signature Bank, and that was all it took. I didn't have to talk to multiple people in siloed departments with multiple forms to fill out. One call did it all. As the one who was always looking out for my clients, it was a great change to know that my bank, Signature Bank, was looking out for me.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Preparing for a post-Christian America. Well, we're already here. Aaron Wren, First Things, joins us at 7:07.
And ladies, it's Valentine's Day. What you should look for in a man. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Brandon Johnson not renewing the Spot Shotter contract. CPD is searching for an abducted child. A lawsuit claims a girl was sexually assaulted at the Darien Sportsplex. There's a fundraiser going on for the fire-damaged Palace Grill. And the Blackhawks lose to the Canucks. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
It's only happened once before. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and that was 148 years ago. But now, Alejandro Mayorkas has become just the second cabinet member impeached.
by House Republicans who blame the Homeland Security Secretary for allowing record illegal immigration.
When you look at the egregiousness, the breach of public trust, the fact that the Secretary has willfully refused to comply with the law on multiple occasions, multiple times.
GOP Congressman August Pfluger. So what's next?
Late February, early March, the House sends these articles of impeachment to the Senate. Impeachment managers serve as prosecutors. Senators sit as jurors. Senators decide to hold a full trial or move to dismiss or have votes on convicting or exonerating Mayorkas.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. Democrats call it all a sham, and there's no chance 67 senators will vote to convict and remove Mayorkas. President Biden calls it an unconstitutional act of partisanship and petty. There will be one more Democrat in the House. Tom Suozzi won a special election in New York to fill the seat vacated when Congress expelled Republican George Santos.
Despite the vaunted Nassau County Republican machine, we won.
Suozzi beat Republican Mazi Pilip by about 8 points. Former President Trump called Pilip very foolish for not endorsing him in the 2024 race. Writing on Truth Social, his supporters in that New York district stayed home instead of voting for her. As Israel keeps waging war against Hamas in Gaza.
Sirens sounding across northern Israel amid a new rocket attack from the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. We understand that at least one person was killed and several injured. The target appeared to be the Northern Command headquarters in the town of Safed. The Israelis have already started to respond, striking the launch sites in southern Lebanon.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. North Korea has done it again. Its fifth missile test since January, launching several into the sea in an ongoing nuclear weapons and sanctions standoff with the U.S. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02, 26 degrees in Chicago. Sunrise. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago police are searching for a child abducted on the southwest side. 9-year-old Dana Gonzalez was last seen in the company of her mother. Mayor Brandon Johnson, silent after taking the controversial position to not renew Chicago's contract with ShotSpotter, going against the wishes of his police superintendent and Alderman David Moore.
At this senior building, I would constantly get calls about shootings. When they implemented ShotSpotter, those calls went down.
The contract set to expire Friday. The mayor will decommission use of the gunshot detection technology September 22nd. Yesterday in the Inglewood community, Alderman Anthony Beal says that appears to be intentional.
You want to wait until all the dignitaries come from around the country and then cancel ShotSpotter the month after they leave? What about the people that are here every single day? That should be your focus.
The decision makes good on a campaign promise by Brandon Johnson. Flight attendants in Chicago demanding better wages and working conditions. More than 150 flight attendants protested yesterday outside of O'Hare. Governor J.B. Pritzker still not giving much detail about how he plans to spend your Illinois tax dollars in the fiscal year that begins July 1. AM 560's Greg Bishop was with the governor yesterday.
Pritzker said he wants next week's speech to be a big reveal. He said the bottom line is, quote, more of what we care about. Among those priorities are working class families,
lifting up the people who've been left out and left behind. I think those are all the obligations, the basic obligations of government in the state.
Republicans warn of possible deficits up to $890 million. House Minority Leader Tony McCombie said first and foremost, there should be no new taxes and no new spending programs. She also said if the budget's the moral document that legislators say it is, the priority needs to be on citizens, not non-citizen migrants.
Cadillac healthcare costs for non-citizens, and that certainly is not a priority of the taxpayers that I'm hearing from.
I'm Greg Bishop.
And two Cicero's sisters say they've become even more close than before after giving birth to their children on the same day at the same hospital. Della Zavala and Juliana Monaraz had their first babies, both boys, at McNeil Hospital in Berwyn. Bulls and Cavaliers tonight. Blackhawks lost to Vancouver last night 4-2. Baseball back for the Cubs and Sox. Pitchers and catchers reporting. And the Fighting Illini, no Big Ten trouble, sidestepping the basketball Wolverines 97-68. The news, a service of Turnkey.pro. With decades of C-suite experience, Turnkey knows small business. Their team of veteran consultants knows how to reduce costs and grow new revenue streams, all without having to hire on-site professionals. Turnkey has solutions for your business. Visit turnkey.pro. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka picks apart the border bill.
In terms of the limitations, the numbers of illegals, 5,000 a day, that you're permitted when this bill is signed to let into America, you can't include people who are from other countries than Canada or Mexico, right? Non-contiguous, which is interesting because most of the illegals aren't actually coming from Mexico right now.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress, but there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Just use the promo code GOLD. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I like your product. Your product is great. I'm 75, and it works well for me.
Yeah, I'm 70 years old, and it's really made a difference. It feels good.
Oh, I just feel better. I can tell the difference.
I stay like a teenager because I walk 2 miles every day, me and my husband. I mean, you can't go wrong with this product, I tell you.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:09, let's check the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Remke's Garage. Take it to the experts, take it to Remke's Garage, equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Visit Remke'sGarage.com, Remke'sGarage.com, your Sprinter diesel and Toyo tire headquarters. As you're traveling this morning on the Stevenson stop-and-go traffic, Harlem to Kedzie, 40 minutes in to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Bishop Ford and I-57 jamming into the Ryan Merge, the Ryan 25, 95th into the Byrne Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast in our QC Kinetics Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Clouds and some breaks of sunshine for the day. The high today 45. A little bit of snow and rain at times tonight late. Little or no accumulation, low 36. Rain or snow shower early tomorrow. Then partly sunny with a high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Right now, sunshine, 26 at O'Hare, 27 Midway. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. The Red Balloon, that job network for conservatives, they advertise on our station for their ads. They've got a good ad that's running around the country. I see it's a lot on social media. It's a great sort of counterculture ad. Take a listen to it. With kids as the stars in the spot.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke. When I grow up, I want to be hired based on what I look like rather than my skills. I want to be judged by my political beliefs. I want to get promoted based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended by my coworkers and walk around the office on eggshells and have my words policed by HR. Words like grandfather, peanut gallery, long time no see, no can do. When I grow up, I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder. Just by following the crowd. I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
I mean, it speaks to, it is a pretty good spot. The question I wonder, though, is does it resonate with anyone who otherwise is being ridiculed in that spot? Is that the way back? I mean, I understand that, to paraphrase C.S. Lewis, the devil hates to be mocked, and thus he must be. But
maybe it'll wake some people up like, ooh, I guess we are acting pretty silly.
I don't know.
Especially with the pronoun things.
I was struck by Eric Adams last week at that little confab he had of city workers in New York, where he compared himself to Jesus Christ, which I thought was pretty generous. And
he's the second coming, Dan, don't you know? Come on.
And then celebrated the intersectional score of his administration. You know, you black woman, stand up. You Asian man, stand up, and so on and so forth. He didn't do it that way, but that was the point of it. We have got this great diverse administration. But he invokes scripture in describing what he has done as mayor. I'm turning over the tables in the temple. That's what I'm doing, and being persecuted for it. So there's just this cultural intersection between Marxism, neo-Marxism, identitarianism, and those who still, particularly in minority communities, who still consider themselves good Christians. They're people of faith. And there's some of that in the suburbs, too, at these sort of off-the-shelf Protestant institutions, as well as the liberation theology-oriented Catholic institutions. So, you're trying to, everybody's sort of wrestling with, I mean, if you care about America's future as a free society, which ostensibly we do, everybody's wrestling with like these intersections and signals and illustrations of revolt against the prevailing culture, while others fold into it that once were more iconoclastic. David French comes to mind. Russell Moore comes to mind. Like, how are we to exactly understand where Christianity and faithfulness is in this moment? How important is it in a post-Christian America? And if it is important, what should be done about it? Well, to help us address those big questions, he's written a book about it. Aaron Renn is a co-founder and senior fellow at American Reformer, also a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute for Policy Research. His new book, Life in the Negative World, Confronting Challenges in an Anti-Christian Culture. Aaron Renn, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Do we? You were cutting out. Do we have him? Do we have him on a good line?
Yes, you can hear me, right?
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, good. Sorry.
Hello.
I know you sort of give us a historical progression to where we are today. Give us the sort of the thumbnail on that, and then let's get to how we should understand where we are today and what we do about it.
Yeah, well, briefly, we never had a state church like in Europe, but essentially a sort of generic Protestant Christianity was the de facto national religion of America for most of its history. So in the 1950s, half of all the people went to church. We had prayer and Bible reading in schools, etc. In the 60s, that started to become unraveled. Christianity went into decline in America. That decline continues. And I sort of divide that period of decline between 1964 and the present into three phases or worlds I call the positive, neutral, and negative world. In the positive world, 64 to 94, Christianity's in decline in America, to be sure, but is still basically viewed positively. From 94 to 2014, we hit a tipping point. Christianity is not really seen positively anymore, but it's not yet viewed negatively either. It's just one more lifestyle choice among many in a sort of pluralistic public square. But then around 2014, we had a second tipping point and into what I call the negative world. For really the first time in the 400-year history of America, sort of official elite culture is now negative or certainly skeptical towards Christianity. To be known as a Bible-believing Christian does not help you get a job at Goldman Sachs or Google. Christian moral frameworks are expressly rejected and, in fact, in many ways are viewed as a leading moral threat to the new public moral order. And so this is a kind of a very uncomfortable situation, I think, that a lot of Christians and evangelicals find themselves in today.
Well, what happened? I mean, why the decline? And why the positive look on Christianity and now people look on it negatively?
Well, that's a very complicated topic. I'm not one of these where did it all go wrong. I think, you could tell, philosophers and things have told 100-year story arcs of secularization. I think a couple of landmarks, though. One was the sort of collapse of the old Protestant establishment in the 1960s. I mean, we really did have a self-consciously Protestant leadership class in America for much of the history. Now, if you were Catholic or Jewish, you didn't necessarily like that. But there was a sort of a sort of Christian identity in that. And then the collapse of the Soviet Union played a huge role as well in 1989, because that was an avowedly atheist materialist system, and Christianity was really bound up with the West battle against communism. That's why we added "In God We Trust" to our money in the 50s, "Under God" to the Pledge of Allegiance. It wasn't until the Soviet communist threat went away that Christianity could sort of be unbundled from what it meant to be a Western liberal democratic society.
Yeah, I mean, as Charles Murray, right, when he said, part of what happened with the leadership class, if you will, is they stopped preaching what they practice?
Right. Well, there's certainly been this huge disconnection between the elite and the masses of America. In the past, many of the upper class, the elites, may have looked kind of contemptuously on the lower classes, but they still had a great identity with America and viewed themselves as stewards of this country and its institutions. And that's really less the case today. I mean, our elite behaves in a very self-interested manner. And, unlike the old days when they said what's good for General Motors is good for America and vice versa, today what's good for a private equity executive may be what's bad for America. And they don't really care.
Well, so where do we go from here? I mean, the last big conversation, I shouldn't say it like conversation ended with this, but it was an inflection point, was Rod Dreher's book, The Benedict Option, where he suggested, recognizing the same thing that you're describing, that right now is a time for people of faith to sort of exit the culture, congregate together, and rebuild in preparation for serving when things break apart more significantly.
Yeah, I don't think exiting the culture is really an option. I do think, though, when you go from being, what used to be, as they said, the moral majority to being a moral minority, you have to start thinking like a minority, which means you need to more self-consciously be stewarding the strength of your own community, its own identity. Again, we were sort of an anti-Catholic country for a good chunk of our history. So in the early 20th century, Catholics had to create their own institutions, their own Catholic schools, their own Catholic universities, fraternal societies, organizations, infrastructure and practices to sustain Catholic life in America. And it actually worked well. But that didn't mean that they kind of retreated from overall society. And so I think that's the sort of thing, I think sort of Protestants and evangelicals need to be looking at, creating infrastructure to sustain their own community within the larger structure of society.
Well, so is there cause for optimism, for the church in this new era?
Well, again, I tend to look at evangelicals specifically, so I know that the best. I think a hallmark of evangelicalism has really been its superior adaptability. When Christianity started going into decline, the main line started losing people and could never figure out how to get them back. And they just sort of died off. Whereas evangelicals, people like Bill Hybels with Willow Creek Church, they were able to reinvent church to attract new generations. Again, when the cities came back, Tim Keller in New York City reinvented how to do church in an urban context. So I am somewhat actually optimistic that once again, people will figure out how to kind of reinvent or update what's going on in order to adapt to today's changing world as well.
So, what, do you have suggestions on what the posture should be as that exploration is occurring?
Yeah, again, I don't have a formula. There is a difference between now and Hybels. Hybels went door to door asking people why they didn't go to church and said, I'm doing my market research. I'll design a church people will attend. I think today is a more fundamentally challenging scenario. You're not just going to ask people why they don't go to church and then design something to get them in the door. I do think it's more unknown, and therefore we had to have more of a posture of exploration. It's somewhat like a startup. Think about Elon Musk wanting to go to Mars. He's not really sure how he's going to get to Mars. And so he's trying to, figure out how to, first we've got to build a rocket, et cetera. So I think there is some of we have to be comfortable walking more by faith than by sight, more comfortable in this unknown territory. And we're going to have to explore. There's going to be a lot of trial and error probably to figure out what's going on. We're going to have to pivot along the way. And of course, the world is constantly changing. We're in an incredibly dynamic environment today.
He is Aaron Renn, co-founder and senior fellow at American Reformer, also senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. His book, Life in the Negative World, Confronting Challenges in an Anti-Christian Culture. Aaron Renn, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the book.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Imagine what your future looks like. Is the picture a little blurry? Hey, it's Sean Thompson here for Alpha Wealth Group. When we look ahead, we're visualizing where we want to be, and for retirement, that can be hard without a written financial plan. Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help you bring your retirement picture into focus. For decades, Tom has been crafting customized financial strategies. His goal is to help you protect your savings, grow your wealth, and create an income strategy you cannot outlive. If you're nearing or already in retirement, it's time to get your plan on paper. So bring your readers and let's take a look at it closely. Call Tom at 630-934-1855 and schedule a complimentary retirement consultation. There is no cost. There is no obligation. This is a chance to get a clearer view of your retirement. The number again is 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560 The Answer. Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Oh, it's not your windows. Did you know the biggest source of energy loss in your home is your attic? Permaseal is thrilled to announce their latest innovation in home comfort, their attic insulation service. Oh, yes. Attic insulation is designed to maximize energy efficiency, ensuring your home stays comfortable year-round. You can trust Permaseal installers to install your new insulation with precision and care. They'll ensure that your attic is properly insulated for optimal results. If you're not testing, you're guessing. That's right, Permaseal certified installers use digital imaging cameras and a blower door test so that they can get right to the source. Insulation helps your home stay cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. For a free estimate, call our good friends at Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325, or online at permaseal.net.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name, cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630. Or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
All right, we don't have much control over a lot of things and aspects of our lives, but we do control what we eat. So feel good that you're doing something for yourself. Take Balance of Nature. Why? Well, most of us aren't getting enough fruits and veggies on our own. And Balance of Nature, 31 whole fruits and vegetables. They take the fruits and the veggies, they turn them into powder after an advanced cold process system, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. And when you give your body the best possible fuel, you do have more energy and you're stronger. The number to call is 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago. First-timers get 35% off their first order of fruits and veggies and free shipping. What do you have to lose? Try it out. Be one of the cool kids. 800-246-8751, discount code Chicago, or online at balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
This President's Day, honor the legacy that shaped America with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. At AMAC, we celebrate the courage and leadership that built our nation. In honor of President's Day, enjoy our exclusive sale. Become a 5-year AMAC member for just $35. That's right, $35 for a 5-year membership. As a member, enjoy benefits tailored for mature Americans, resources, exclusive discounts, trusted news, games, sweepstakes, and a powerful voice for your rights. Join us in honoring our nation's leaders. Visit amac.us/president for this special President's Day offer during the month of February. Seize the opportunity to become part of a community valuing the experience, wisdom, and principles that make America strong. Head to amac.us/president and secure your 5-year membership for $35 today. AMAC, better for you, better for America. Happy President's Day from the Association of Mature American Citizens. Visit amac.us/president now.
You are a creator. You've been inspired to design and craft incredible works of art. But nothing derails you like not having the right materials you need to get the project done. K&S Precision Metals prides itself on having the right metal pieces for you to be a maker. With a huge array of metal products for every part of your project, from beginning design to the finished product, K&S Precision Metals provides brass, aluminum, copper, stainless steel tubing, wire, and more. K&S Precision Metals only supplies the highest quality metal items. Each piece is pure metal with no lead or fillers. You can feel good that your project is made with metal manufactured right here in the USA. K&S Precision Metals are used by the medical and movie industries, artists, crafters, engineers, and educators. Family owned and operated in Chicago for over 76 years. Most orders are shipped within a day. Order direct at ksmetals.com. That's ksmetals.com. K&S Precision Metals. Our materials, your creations.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on this. Whoa.
Okay, coming up at 7:37. I guess the inflation beast has not been slayed. We'll talk to Steve Moore, economist and Govzilla author at 7:37.
We're going to have deep thoughts with him. And now, let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
7:30 on AM 560. The Answer. President Biden says history will not look kindly on House Republicans for impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Texas Congressman Lance Gooden voted in favor.
We've come to this point because our border is not secured. Secretary Mayorkas has ignored the will of the people. He has not followed the laws. He has instructed his department to not follow the laws that are already on the books.
Biden issuing a statement after the vote calling it unconstitutional partisanship. Law enforcement agencies in Wyoming mourning the loss of a sergeant there, shot and killed in the town of Sheridan during an attempt to serve a trespass warning on Tuesday. One person dead, 5 injured after a car crashes into a Texas emergency room. 2 children are among the injured after a car plowed into the ER of an Austin medical center Tuesday night. Chicago police are searching for a child abducted on the southwest side. 9-year-old Dana Gonzalez was last seen in the company of her mother. Mayor Brandon Johnson silent after taking the controversial position to not renew Chicago's contract with ShotSpotter, going against the wishes of many, including his police superintendent, Larry Snelling.
We have documented, just through giving officers awards for it, life-saving awards, over 150 incidents where officers have applied tourniquets and life-saving techniques.
The decision makes good on a campaign promise made by Johnson, who was swayed by a few cities around the nation canceling ShotSpotter, and a progressive activist group report from Northwestern's MacArthur Foundation criticizing some aspects of that technology. ShotSpotter has recently been rolled out in 7 new cities. Flight attendants in Chicago demanding better wages and working conditions. More than 150 attendants protested yesterday. Wilmette residents jammed into council chambers last night, angry that their trustees chose to approve unanimously an intergovernmental agreement with Evanston over construction and use of Northwestern's approved reconstruction of Ryan Field.
I'm in the direct line of fire from the construction and all the noise that's going to be flying up from the concerts.
As resident Phil Adams, the agreement limits noise, construction, traffic, and parking. Residents are lining up for a private lawsuit. Public and private sector unions in Illinois saw 27,000 workers reject union membership in 2023. Membership has dropped to its lowest that it's been in 34 years. However, there is a new House bill that aims at allowing unions to recruit in high school. The General Assembly is considering that legislation through something called the Workplace Readiness Week. And the first meeting of a task force to explore ranked choice voting in Illinois got off to a rocky start after members actually called for some bipartisanship after 2 Democrats were nominated to co-chair that task force. State Representative Ryan Spain objected.
And when we're dealing with elections issues like this, it gives a particular emphasis to why bipartisanship should matter. And unfortunately, I think this only serves to enhance some of the suspicion that is lingering out there about the topic of ranked choice voting.
Ranked Choice and Voting Systems Task Force will evaluate the current state of Illinois election systems and discuss the process of implementing ranked choice voting for Illinois in the 2028 presidential primary. Florida, Tennessee, South Dakota, Montana, and Idaho have already passed measures prohibiting use of ranked choice. Bulls and Cavaliers tonight. Last night, the Blackhawks lost to Vancouver 4-2. Baseball back for the Cubs and Sox. Pitchers and catchers reporting. Big Ten Hoops, number 14, Illinois, pounds Michigan. The news, a service of Fox Valley Coins. It's a great time to bring in your scrap gold jewelry and sterling flatware. Cash or check offered on the spot. FoxValleyCoins.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
As Valentine's Day approaches and we embark on the season of love, we want to share a heartfelt reminder that the true essence of love lies not just in the words we say, but in the actions we take. At AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, our love extends beyond the personal to a profound appreciation for liberty, a love that unites us all. So here's a question for you. Do you love liberty? We certainly do. And to celebrate this love, we have a special gift in store for you. Imagine receiving a thoughtfully crafted magazine that captures the essence of being an American, filled with inspiring stories, insightful articles, and that unique AMAC touch. That's why we invite you to visit amac.us/Cupid, where Cupid himself stands ready to assist. Complete the form, and Cupid will swiftly deliver this magazine to that special someone's door. This Valentine's Day, let's not only express the love in our hearts, but also demonstrate that love for the principles that define our nation. Visit amac.us/Cupid, and let's make this Valentine's Day a memorable celebration of liberty and unity. Thanks for being a part of the AMAC family. And remember, the true essence of love is found in the actions we take.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Find a reason to be here that's bigger than you are.
From the creators of Jesus Revolution.
Something about that little girl. I think I'm supposed to help.
Based on the inspiring true story.
My name is Sharon. I'm good at plenty of things. Taking no for an answer ain't one.
Find your purpose. Make a difference.
You want to go on an adventure?
Yeah.
Ordinary Angels. Starring 2-time Academy Award winner Hilary Swank and Alan Richson. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters February 23rd.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code RADIO.
7:38. Let's check the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Eden's outbound stop and go Montrose to Niles Center. Kennedy inbound. Fairly heavy 42 right now. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike at 55 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson 49 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. About 30 minutes in on the Dan Ryan from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds with breaks of sun today. We'll top out at 45, clear and 26 right now. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Congressman Barbara Lee has been in the House for some time. She's well into her 70s at this point. Now she's one of the candidates running in that jungle primary for U.S. Senate to replace the dearly departed Di-Fi. That would include Katie Porter, Adam Schiff, Steve Garvey.
Yes, the Republican candidate, Steve Garvey.
Here's Barbara Lee in a recent candidate debate.
That was brilliant.
Being asked about a proposal that she advanced, and she's happy to explain it.
You're calling for a $50 an hour federal minimum wage. That's 7 times the current national minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
First, let me say I owned and ran a small business for 11 years. I created hundreds of jobs, benefits, retirement benefits, also health care benefits. I know what worker productivity means, and that means that you have to make sure that your employees are taken care of and have a living wage. In the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way, came out with a report that very recently, $127,000 for a family of 4 is just barely enough to get by. Another survey very recently, $104,000 for a family of 1, barely enough to get by. Low income because of the affordability crisis. And so just do the math. Just do the math. Of course, we have national minimum wages that we need to raise to a living wage. You're talking about $20, $25, fine. But I have got to be focused on what California needs and what the affordability factor is when we calculate this wage.
Dinner bell. Yeah. Steve Moore is an economist, Govzilla author. Steve, it's just simple math. If you need somebody to make $100,000, then you just mandate a $50 an hour minimum wage. It's what we've always talked about when they proposed raising it. Why not make it 50? Why not make 100? Barbara Lee's taking us up on that.
Yeah, who knew that Barbara Lee was listening to us when we used to mock this idea of a $50 minimum wage? She took it seriously. So do the math here, since we're going to do math today. So if you're working 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year, you're working, 2,000 hours, and times 50, that's 100,000. Gosh,
yeah,
every American will earn $100,000. And I mean, come on, that's a great deal for people. Of course, it will bankrupt every small business in America. There won't be any jobs left, but everybody with a job will have $100,000 a year job. Of course, this is so economics 100. I don't want to insult your listeners, but the fact is, okay, what about somebody who, maybe isn't able to produce enough for $50 an hour? Well, okay, what happens to them? Oh, well, they get fired. So now the people who are hurt the most by this, I mean, this is so obvious, are the lowest skilled workers, because they're the ones who are thrown out of jobs under Barbara Lee's very generous proposal.
No high schoolers would ever flip burgers again because the college students would drop out of college, work at the burger joint, find a hot chick that works in the cashier station next to you, marry her, you guys instantly have $200,000. It's brilliant, right? The people have been complaining about the $18 Big Mac meal now because of Biden inflation. Can you imagine how much a Big Mac would cost? It'll be $40.
They had to pay $50.
Yeah, but you're making $50 an hour at least, so you can afford the $40 Big Mac. I mean, it's just this endless arms race between government setting prices, wages by fiat, government setting prices by fiat, and then Biden will come in and say McDonald's and Burger King are examples of corporate greed. There's shrinkflation going on with the Whopper. Yeah, and then you just jawbone it, and then this just goes on in perpetuity. Of course. By the way, I'd love to see I'd love to get the details on that business that Barbara Lee ran too.
Right. I mean, she should know of anybody.
Yeah, I'd love to get details on that.
But one thing I just want to add to this, though, is that it is true. The costs of San Francisco are outrageous. I mean, it's unbelievable how expensive everything is in San Francisco. Gee, why is that? Maybe it's because they regulate everything in San Francisco. There's no housing. Everything is expensive. Why don't they look under the hood and see what they're doing in that city, which is, by the way, the most progressive city in America, and they've got, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants there. They're paying those bills. Gee, I wonder why everything's so expensive.
So yesterday, the street got shocked a little bit because inflation running hotter than anticipated. Yeah. Core CPI, which excludes food and energy, annualized rate of 3.9%. Super core CPI, excluding food, energy, and costs, 6%. and that's on top of food, energy, and shelter that are still up at least 25% from 4 years ago. So Jay Powell hasn't quite stuck the landing yet. What happens next?
He hasn't stuck the landing. He's one of the most overrated people. You know, Time Magazine wanted to make him their man of the year, but then they had to, they couldn't pass by Taylor Swift. But if it hadn't been Taylor Swift, it probably would have been Jerome Powell, because they think he did stick the landing, but he didn't. And let's face it. I mean, this is a guy who's been. And I talked to Trump last week about Powell. I asked him, would you reappoint Jerome Powell, and thank God he said no, because I think Powell's been a disaster. I mean, when Trump left office, the inflation rate was 1.5%. 18 months later, thanks to Biden and Powell, we're at 9.1%. And you made a very important point just there a second ago, that the total increase in prices of everything officially is about 18.2% since Biden came into office. But if you look at the things people have to buy, like you just said, mortgage, what you pay for your groceries, what you pay for your gas, what you pay for your utility bill.
Home and car insurance, don't forget about that.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
went way up.
Yeah, that went way up, and as we've talked about so many times, Cocoa Krispies are now $8.50 a box. So people are facing really 25 to 30% inflation, and then Biden's doing this little dance and jig in Washington about how well he's handled the economy. And by the way, I just have to say, did you see his shrinkflation video?
Right, yeah, the pre Super Bowl ad. Yeah,
right. So if
exactly.
if the economy is so good, why did he do a Super Bowl commercial saying cookies and ice cream cost so much?
Exactly. And you know what? This is a little side note. Do you know how many takes he had to do?
How? No. This is so inside baseball. But
nailed it on the first take.
He had to do it 15 times.
15?
So 15 times before he finally got it. And even he still slurred the words. But my
was
point
it really him, or was that a stunt double?
AI.
But here's the thing. Look, what he said was right. I am addicted to Doritos. Okay, I have to confess that is my addiction, and so I buy those bags of Doritos all the time. And I swear he's right. I used to get about 24 chips in a bag, and now I'm getting about 20 chips in the bag.
Yep.
And so he's saying, "Oh, these criminal." Remember when he when he blamed the gas stations for the high gas prices?
Yeah, exactly. That's what this is. Yeah, right.
Well, but I want to
round and round.
The reason that Doritos is putting fewer chips in the bag is not because they're at one of these greedy corporations. It's because their costs are higher, and they're trying to disguise the higher costs by putting fewer. So per chip, you're paying probably about 14% inflation for Doritos.
Well, right. You can either raise the price or you lower the amount because of the production costs. I mean, it's not that complicated, but it's a conspiracy by Big Grocery and Big Chip and every other Big Candy, Big Ice Cream. Yeah, I get it.
Big soda water.
But I mean, but in terms of what this means for Powell,
right.
He's going to have to, and this is, I guess, the street's reaction, although we'll see if it bounces back today. It seems pretty irrepressible, that he's going to have to put off maybe even the 3 rate cuts that were anticipated.
I don't see how he could do rate cuts right now because the inflation boogeyman has not been killed yet. It's not. There is inflation out there. There were a lot of really worrisome signs in that report that there's still inflationary pressures, especially in service costs. And so, no, I don't think they should be cutting rates right now. And that's one of the reasons that the stock market had a little bit of a hissy fit yesterday. Because, look, the Wall Street loves cheap money, Jan. They love cheap money. Just keep flushing into the economy. Mm-hmm. But this is a good way to ruin an economy is by continuing to cheapen the dollar. So I think if I were Fed chairman, I would not cut rates right now.
Well, now that he knows Trump won't re-up him, he's probably going to cut rates. He's got to protect Biden.
Oh, I know. He's going to screw Trump. Yeah. He's going to screw Trump because Trump, look, Powell got it wrong when Trump was president. He raised rates when he should have been lowering them, lowered rates. And he really believes, as so many idiots on Wall Street do, that, in fact, there's a report by one of the major Wall Street firms saying, we think that prices are going to, they said, the only way to stop prices from going up is to have a recession. Now, is that the dumbest thing you ever heard?
Yes.
I mean, if you have a recession, you're going to produce less products. If you produce less products, the prices are going to go up. They're not going to go down. I mean, there's so much bad economic thinking. I mean, we got to go back to Economic 100.
All right, here's another topic under the Econ 101 syllabus. New data from the IRS. In 2021, the top 1% of taxpayers paid 46% of all federal income taxes. That is a record high percentage for the top 1%. A record low, 34%, paid by the bottom 95%. So the top 1% paid a plurality, 46%. The bottom 35% paid, the bottom 95% paid only 34% of total tax receipts to the government. So
these are income taxes.
These are income taxes.
Yeah.
And so I guess obviously the obvious question is, despite the fact that the 1% paid an all-time record high on a percentage basis, when are the rich going to pay their fair share?
So, by the way, I'm not familiar with those latest. Did those numbers just come out? Because the last one I saw, the richest 1% were paying 41%. Are you saying it's up to 46% now?
In 2021, 45.8%, all-time record on a percentage basis. Yep.
Wow. So when are they going to start paying their share?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
They should be paying 67. The top 1% should pay all the taxes.
At least 100%, if not more. Yeah.
And Warren Buffett, and we got to get Jeff Bezos, and we got to get Elon Musk in a room, and they're going to pay all the taxes, okay? And then they're going to move to New Zealand, move to Switzerland. I mean, this is a bad thing for so many reasons. The most important reason is that, look, everybody should pay some tax. And by the way, the bottom 50%, I don't know if you have those numbers in front of you, they pay, the last time I checked, like 4% of the taxes. So that the United States of America has the most progressive tax system in the world. And I know people are going to be shocked by that because we're always told every day the rich aren't paying their fair share. There's no country in the world that depends more on the top 1% to pay the tax burden than the United States does.
Yeah, obviously the numbers bear that out. We just hit an all-time high thanks to Bidenomics. Steve,
by the way, just think of how much money we could get if we raised their tax rates back up to 90%. God, we wouldn't even have a budget deficit. I mean, that's the way these people in Washington think.
We heard it. We heard it from Barbara Lee. I mean, you just wave wands and magic things happen. Steve Moore, economist and Govzilla author. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a great week. Happy Valentine's Day, Amy.
Thank you. You too.
What? None for me?
No, Dan.
Not for you.
All right.
Maybe next year. And Stephen Moore joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
That's some good stuff, I'll tell you. It really works.
I'm just really pleased with your product. I've been using it now for 3 years.
I've been taking it for a while now. I feel better. I live on the Balance of Nature. I plan on taking it forever.
I've been a very happy customer. I like the product, and I'm telling a lot of people about it.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
All right, it's Valentine's Day, if you haven't noticed. Treat yourself to something good. Treat yourself to QC Kinetics. Why? I'm talking about people who have chronic back, knee, joint pain in their elbows and their knees, obviously, or in their hip. And you can get rid of that pain without surgery, without drugs, without, taking vacation from work. What it is, it's state-of-the-art healthcare that is changing the lives of many. You know, those old ideas of taking steroids, cortisone shots, surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Again, if you have that knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or an injury, don't let this pain keep you from living your best. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your own body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. So make this year the best and reclaim your mobility and independence. Walk and run, play and live. Do not live with chronic pain anymore. Call right now for a free consultation, and they have new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. The number again, 312-809-5955.
Baby, it's cold outside, and we've got the perfect cure for those winter blues. Grab your loved ones and settle in this evening with a relaxing jigsaw puzzle from Heart Puzzles, made right here in the Midwest. Their vast assortment includes a variety of themes. Go retro and cool with the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Revisit past trips with the National Parks Collection. Gaze at the wonders of space with the Hubble and Webb Deep Space Telescopes puzzles. Feel nostalgic with the immensely popular Boomers favorites. What's more is that a piece of every puzzle sale automatically goes to charity, so you'll be supporting their mission of giving back to veterans, funding medical research, and preserving our national parks. Order now and get 20% off by using promo code AM560. Order 2 puzzles and get free shipping and a tote bag. Order 3 puzzles and they'll even include a puzzle mat. Again, use promo code AM560. Their popular designs often sell out, so visit them today at heartpuzzles.com. That's HART puzzles.com.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth, talks about the importance of tax planning in retirement.
A qualified financial planner can take you through all the steps to show you every single legal way you can use to reduce and minimize your state income taxes across the board, so that, again, you keep more of your money and your family keeps more of your money.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-299-7878. That's 800-299-7878. 800-299-7878.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They offer the convenience of physician-monitored, self-inject, at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication. If you don't live near a Low T Center, just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. That's Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
AM 560, The Answer.
Take out a pen and a piece of paper and write this down, because this is one of Prof's economic axioms. We were talking about fair share, Barbara Lee, income taxes.
I really want to know what small business she owned. I'm going to keep looking for that. Okay, I'm ready. I've got pen and paper, Dan. What do you got?
The fair share, quote unquote, from the redistributionist political target is always more, because the fair share to the redistributionist political beneficiary is always more. Will always be. You'll never get a number. It will never be fair. It will always just be more because I need more from you to bring more to them, you see. Think school funding. All right. Anyway.
Coming up
there
on
you go.
Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, let's see.
Want to do it? Come on.
No, the end of ShotSpotter, which makes sense because we don't arrest anybody anymore.
Okay. It is now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
The slim House Republican majority just got even slimmer. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Tom Suozzi, a Democrat, won a special election in New York.
Let's send a message to our friends running the Congress these days.
Suozzi will replace George Santos, the Republican expelled from Congress.
Stop running around for Trump and start running the country.
Now, the former president reacted on Truth Social, calling the Republican who lost that election, Mazi Pilip, very foolish for not endorsing him, saying his supporters stayed home. NATO's just announced 18 of its 31 member countries have met their military spending requirement, up from 11 last year. Former President Trump suggested over the weekend that he would not defend a NATO ally that does not meet that requirement from a Russian attack. President Biden reacted.
For God's sake, it's dumb, it's shameful, it's dangerous, it's un-American. When America gives us word, it means something. When we make a commitment, we keep it.
The president's also urging the House to take up a vote on the military aid bill for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. But many Republicans are critical. There's no U.S. border security in it. House Republicans did vote to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Congressman Carlos Jimenez just told Fox Business.
The secretary violated the law repeatedly and created this crisis. He also breached his public trust.
And goes to the Senate next. But Democrats call it a sham and a waste of time with nowhere near the 67 votes needed to convict and remove Mayorkas. The U.S. has once again gone on the attack in Yemen, taking out a missile the Iran-backed Houthi militants were about to fire at a ship in the Red Sea. A police officer is being mourned in Sheridan, Wyoming.
Sergeant Nevada Krinke was attempting to serve a trespass warrant when he was shot and killed on Tuesday. He had been on the force since October 2017, according to the Sheridan Police and Fire Facebook page. Local news reports say Sergeant Krinke was also an Army veteran.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. The accused gunman barricaded himself in a home. America's listening to Fox News. In Chicago, 26 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Brandon Johnson silent after taking the controversial position to not renew Chicago's contract with ShotSpotter, going against the wishes of Police Superintendent Larry Snelling.
We have documented, just through giving officers awards for it, life-saving awards, over 150 incidents where officers have applied tourniquets and life-saving techniques.
And Alderwoman Sylvia Tabarez.
We're here to tell the mayor that he's wrong, that he needs to change his decision and listen to the community.
In the Inglewood community, Alderman Anthony Beal says he disagrees with the mayor's decision.
Black and brown communities hear gunshots all the time. There are some communities are immune to it. So therefore, sometimes people just don't call the police. ShotSpotter saves lives. Why? Because the police will still respond to that call.
Progressive activists like Alderman Byron Lopez said the mayor was right.
This is indeed a win for the city. We want to plan neighborhood by neighborhood with all our institutions, including the Chicago Police Department, on best practices to make sure that our communities are safer and stronger together.
In other news, we're following the Darien Park District is being sued, claiming a young girl was sexually assaulted on district property. Lawsuit was filed in Cook County Court claiming a figure skating coach raped that girl that he was training at the Darien Sportsplex between 2016 and 2018. Hinsdale South High School mourning the passing of a teacher, the school announcing Ryan Mott died after suffering a medical emergency at the school. Classes were dismissed. Counselors are being made available today. Chicago sports. Bulls coming off a win over Atlanta take on Cleveland tonight, while the Blackhawks losing skid is at 7 after a 4-2 loss to Vancouver. Baseball back for the Cubs and White Sox. Pitchers and catchers reporting. Big Ten hoops Fighting Illini blow out Michigan 97-68. AM 560 news time is 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures are higher after yesterday's sell-off. Bitcoin's price topped $51,000 this morning. The rally started with the SEC approving Bitcoin exchange-traded funds. It's also being boosted by news that investor Peter Thiel has been investing in Bitcoin and Ether, and investors are anticipating Bitcoin halving this year. It's a protocol that reduces the rate of new coins entering circulation. Heineken raised prices and sales took a hit. Heineken says economic uncertainty could cut into its profit this year. Airbnb shares are losing ground even though its earnings were better than forecast. Instacart is cutting about 240 employees. The delivery service says it's dealing with heated competition and rising food costs. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosilda, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
November 2nd, 2020, marked the 100th anniversary of the first commercial radio broadcast. We're still here, and we're bigger and better than ever. You can still listen to us over this great radio station, but now there are no limitations. Your smartphone is now your smart radio. Listen to us online on the app, tunein.com, iHeartRadio, and Odyssey.com. Your smart speaker can find us too. With radio, there is no separation anxiety. We're always on. AM 560, The Answer.
If you're purchasing investment properties and having challenges securing a mortgage, you need to call Team Hochberg about a debt service coverage ratio loan. DSCR loans allow investors to purchase investment properties solely based upon the property's cash flow, not the personal income of the buyer. DCSR loans opens doors for investors who have trouble securing a mortgage via traditional route of supplying 2 years of tax returns, W-2s, and pay stubs. The three qualifying factors are the borrower's credit scores, down payment, and cash flow of the property. If you're an investor interested in purchasing rental properties and have been turned down or are having challenges securing a mortgage, you need to call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com for information about DSCR loans. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress, but there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Just use the promo code GOLD. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start in Gary. South Shoreline commuters westbound right at the Gary Metro Center. Trains are stopped due to positive track control issues. Delays are unknown right now, and we'll keep an eye on that. We're watching I-80 jam up westbound Briggs to Chicago. Veterans Toll, I-355 northbound hits the brakes at Boughton. And right now, the Reagan I-88 jams up eastbound between the Aurora Toll and Eola Road. Stop-and-go traffic on the Bishop Ford and I-57 into the Ryan merge. The Ryan 30 minutes from 95th into the Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Clouds and some breaks of sunshine for the day. The high today 45. A little bit of snow and rain at times tonight late. Little or no accumulation, low 36. Rain or snow shower early tomorrow. Then partly sunny with a high 41. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
26 degrees at O'Hare. Sunshine right now. Your next news update 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Some great news coming out of the city. Looks like BLM Brandon is going to be able to save about $8 million a year. The city pays for those shot spotter cameras.
Wow.
And, pour that into violence interrupters or some storefront preachers operation, something like that. So that's good news. Maybe more financing for black and brown businesses to feed the migrants.
The $17 million investment for these 18 black and brown small businesses is really it really captures what I call the soul of Chicago. It's who we are.
Yeah, it's who, yeah.
Last May, the city of Chicago called on the Food Depository to help feed new arrivals.
Exactly. That's very nice. 17 black and brown businesses. That's how you describe a business? It's not a way to do it. But anyway, 17 million so far for black and brown businesses, BLM Brandon's words, to feed migrants. Why not bump it up to 25? So repurpose that shot spotter money. I mean, after the DNC is
over, of course, yes.
Come and gone, do that. So some older humans are not thrilled with the decision, including minority older humans like Tony Beal on the south side of the city. He said this.
What do you make of the decision to end this ShotSpotter contract?
This is another horrible decision by the administration to cancel ShotSpotter. In certain communities, historically, they don't call the police, and this is a tool to help the police to respond quickly to 911 calls where shots are fired so they can get there in an expeditious manner, and now they don't have that tool. When data has shown people are not calling 911. So this is something to help communities that are still afraid to call 911 and to aid the police in responding in a timely manner.
Well, and the superintendent had said he was supportive of it as well.
Well, the superintendent said he's a huge advocate for ShotSpotter. So the administration is going against the same person he just hired to police the city of Chicago, and you're going against his expertise.
Well, I mean, he's got his expertise. BLM Brandon has his expertise. Who's really to say who has more expertise when it comes to public safety? Because remember, we are under sort of a new philosophy when it comes to public safety, and you don't do that through policing and imprisonment, which is why we're emptying out Cook County Jail. That was the whole point. I mean, don't forget, BLM Brandon is a defund the police guy.
Right, and people forget that. And this was one of his campaign promises, remember, that he's going to end the ShotSpotter camera system.
Promise made, promise kept. What's the problem? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
He's done everything that he said he was going to do. Well, he's, marking things off his list. The next thing is probably going to be the city income tax, and then the Bring Chicago Home transfer tax for properties that are $1 million or more.
Well,
but
that's on the ballot.
That's on the ballot. Yeah, at least we got a say in that. But this decision, how was the ShotSpotter camera? Can somebody explain this to me? How is it racist in nature?
Well, it led to the death of Adam Toledo.
No, it led police to find out.
And that led to the death of Adam Toledo. Adam Toledo would be alive today if we didn't have police chasing down people, randomly shooting at cars. So that's what we need to get rid of. We need to turn that over to social workers and violence interrupters and things like that. And now we got $8 million more a year to funnel into that, or again, the migrant families. Silvana Tavares, she's an older human from the southwest side, like the West Lawn neighborhood. She's not thrilled about the decision either.
The only people against ShotSpotter are the organizers, the community organizers who want to use the money that saves black and brown lives into their own pockets.
Well, not their own pockets, the pockets of their allies maybe. But hey, that's the Chicago way.
This is, you're going to get rid of ShotSpotter, and you're going to implement new training and further development response models to gun violence.
Exactly.
And ultimately reduce shootings, Dan, and increase accountability. Now that is what Mayor Johnson said. He's too afraid to go on camera, so he just released a statement.
The statement's fine. I'm persuaded. This Inspector General report did find that only 9% of gunshot alerts were ever linked to gun-related crimes. 9% of gunshot alerts from ShotSpotter were linked to gun-related crimes. I mean, but you don't buy it?
No, just because he says it does not mean it's true. All my cop friends are pissed right now. They're like, that's how we know that we're the hot spots, where the activity's going. The ShotSpotter went out, we go. And that's our best chance at catching the criminal. We'd love to hear from you, police officers. 312-642-5600.
Well, the connection to gunshot alerts and then linked to gun-related crimes, I mean, there's a couple of steps between the alert and an arrest and a prosecution. But so how it's defined. But regardless, I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all. It's another tool. But again, if we're really not supposed to be arresting people, generally speaking, particularly people of color who are the victims of systemic racism, then probably, we should get rid of ShotSpotter. It just provides another proper incentive to not arrest and prosecute people who commit crimes, and that's the protocol here. So, I mean, as you say, he's keeping his promises, and
he is, but they're not right. But he's doing what he said he's going to do, which scares me to death. But
you
idiots voted for him anyway.
He's giving the people what they want. Corey and Woodlawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I did want to make a comment about what Anthony Bill said. I worked CAPS in 3rd District for over 7 years, and the citizens called the police at an alarming level. I mean, 1 month, 40-something hundred calls in for calls for service. It's not that the citizens aren't calling. We're calling the police. It's that the administration is tying the policeman's hand. Like when Rahm Emanuel was mayor, they specifically said if the perpetrator isn't at the location when you call 911, you may or may not get a cop. So there's lots of things that's happened administratively that has made this situation untenable. And one other comment I do want to make, they're after the policeman's money. No, regardless of what anyone said, these local non-for-profit NGO idiots are after their salaries. They want that money in their non-for-profit so they can put that money in their pocket. Because if you look at their 990s that they submit to the IRS, that money is going in their pockets. It's not going for services to the communities at all.
Absolutely. As always, Corey's on it. He's engaged. He knows. That's exactly right. Well, that's why I said the violence interrupters. That's good. That's where the money will get repurposed. Yeah, right. Of course it will. And by the way, the other part of it, too, we know from the studies that WirePoints has done. The last 2 years, half of 911 calls don't get any response whatsoever.
I know.
So, I mean, the residents won't call because they don't trust the police. That's not really what the problem is. With all due respect to Tony Beale.
I know. There are 120 cities across America. Large cities use ShotSpotter. Cops love it as a tool.
If 120 cities ran off a cliff, should we run off a cliff?
Okay, Dan.
Jim in the Loop, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, ShotSpotter works. I'm a firefighter. I've been at the firehouse. I've been out back, and I've heard 5-6 shots in the distance, and it sounds like it's about a block east and a couple blocks south, but we're not going to go out as a fire company or an ambulance crew and go look for where somebody's shot. But sure enough, a little while later, we get a call for the ambulance to go out, and somebody was shot at that location. The accuracy of the location and the pinpointing with that stuff is great. It works and it's helpful. To get rid of it is just ridiculous.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Greg in Jefferson Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, this thing just inhibits economic development, man.
Exactly.
This poor little guy, whatever his name is, he got shot by the cop, racist, extremist cop. And, he was on his way to being a Latin king. So, the more gangbangers that get shot or taken down or arrested by the police, that just keeps them off the streets from selling drugs. So, you got to do what you got to do, and Brandon and all his crew are doing everything they can to turn this place into the hellhole it is. You guys have a good one.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, I mean, look, they don't have ShotSpotter cameras in Glencoe, so why should they have them on the south or west sides of Chicago? I mean, it's stigmatizing, and you've got to remove that stigma.
It's just stupid.
That's what I say.
It's just stupid. I mean, we keep getting dumber every day here.
Ron on the south side.
Hey, Dan and Amy. Well, anything that addresses crime in the proper way, certainly. Well, no, that's racist.
Yeah.
We know that. I don't care what it is. Let's just, we don't need any laws. And then if they arrest them, they're going to let them out. And lastly, that nonsense about that $17 million, I don't consider that an investment when you're spending on people who are criminals, because they are not supposed to be here. So I do not consider that an investment. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Ron.
ShotSpotter helped out, by the way, when the Venezuelans were fired off shots between them and Little Village Little Village residents. They were fighting a double parked car.
Yeah, parking space.
Yeah, 5 women and 4 men were shot.
Well,
and the ShotSpotter helped with that, and then the cops came.
Yeah, but I mean that's a failure to respect the DIB system, which is more powerful than city ordinances.
It wasn't even snowing out. Yes.
And I mean that is something over which to fight, to make sure the lines of demarcation are respected and the DIB system is upheld.
8 shell casings over that.
But I agree with Ron. I mean, probably just don't have any laws. I would just make things easier. Yeah, I think that's right.
Take it all down. Take down the red cameras, too, then. If you're going to take down ShotSpotter, I don't want any red light cameras or speed cameras, because I'm done. And I'm on everybody's on them. You know where they are.
No. ShotSpotter costs the city money. The red light cameras, speed cameras bring in money. And then this way we can pretend we're doing something in the interest of public safety, so we're just taking from your back pocket, not your front pocket. And people seem to like this. They're fine with it.
ShotSpotter makes me feel safer, and now that's gone.
The red light cameras gives them more cash to distribute. That's what's important. Craig in Fox Lake.
Hi, how you guys doing? I've been listening to you guys forever. It's the first time I've been called.
Great.
I actually, no, I mean, even when you guys were on the other station. But well, it was a while ago. But anyway, I actually agree with the mayor, and I don't agree with anything about him. I just think this is a waste of money that's not doing any good. If you look at statistically what it amounts to, what it actually, like what you call the juice and the squeeze or something. Squeeze ain't worth the juice what you're getting. It's not effective. They're saying even on the mainstream media, it's 1 or 2% that they actually get the conviction out of it. And they always say that we're short of police officers, and I think maybe they should use those resources to hire more cops. That's all.
All right. Thanks for the call, Craig. Of course, it would be one thing if they're saying, we need more frontline police, but they're not saying that because that's not what they believe. So this isn't about making a decision on highest best use of scarce resources in the interest of public safety. This is making an ideological decision, as people have suggested, about policing generally, and a financial decision about supporting those who support you.
Got a great text message. To the firefighters' point, many shot victims are found without a corresponding 911 call to that location, and the police not arrived on the scene. They would have bled out and died.
Well, you're gonna break a few eggs when you're doing something that's transformative, as Mayor Johnson is. Jim in Rockford.
Hey, I hope I have the summary correct. So we're not allowed to have guns in Chicago to protect ourselves. The cops only show up to half of the police calls. And we're going to reallocate $18 million in money to feed migrants based upon brown and black. So I guess my question on that is that based upon appearance, or if I'm a business owner who sells food and I identify as that color, do I get part of that money?
Great question. Thanks for the call, Jim. I guess it's would predicate on how convincing you are, or how supportive you've been of the efforts of the new Marxists. So it's not reallocating 17. The 17 million has already been spent on those businesses to feed migrant families and so forth. And now I'm saying this 8 million a year that was being sent on ShotSpotter can be repurposed to provide more resources to the people that we care about most in this country, and that is people here who are here illegally. Yeah, but that's so I just want to round out that summary, but otherwise, pretty close. Kevin in Austin, Texas.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
couple of things. Where are the aldermen on this?
Well, you heard from a couple of them.
Okay, yeah. So where's the dean of the city council, Walter Burnett? He was happy to take money from developers when they were developing the west side, but now he's now the vice mayor, and he got paid off with a $400,000 budget. Amy, I wish you'd put the screws to this guy. He was happy to have dinner at Madison's restaurant during the last three-peat with Oscar D'Angelo and the like. Where are these guys?
Oh my gosh, boy! I mean, talk about a commentary on how far the city has fallen. Walter Burnett is the dean of the city council. Oh boy.
Yeah, he was happy to take developers' money.
That about sums it up right there. Thanks for the call, Kevin. Yeah, they'll kick up a little bit of dust, but at the end of the day, we'll all just move on.
Yeah.
We got to get it's exciting. We got the DNC coming. Focus on the positive.
Right.
Obama land is under construction.
Oh,
we got
yay.
all
Too
kinds
bad
of good things happening.
Too bad they can't get Obama land done before the DNC.
It is too bad.
Yeah, and also they pushed back Chicago Public Schools a week. Thank you very much. Next fall, which we were informed of.
Tim in DeKalb.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. This has to do with people just being lazy. If we got out and voted in the numbers of people who sit on the couch and gripe and groan, who are registered or could register to vote, then there would be none of this stuff. These politicians would be the thing. I'm a city councilman where I live. I sit on a board, and people, they have no idea what it is we are doing or can do to them. They just sit at home hoping that somebody just takes care of them in the right way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have to say that as a person who yells and screams about anything that raises taxes, I try to do my best, but I don't trust myself. I mean, you can't trust people in power. I mean, that's why the United States is the United States, because even the people in power who invented us said you can't trust us. But yet we don't do a damn thing about it. We sit at home and gripe and groan, and you get what you don't vote for.
That's great. Great call, Tim. I love that way of describing it, too. People have no idea what we're doing or what we can do to them. To them, not for them. Exactly right. Exactly right. No, and I love the humility of not being able to trust yourself. This is why pressure on politicians matters. But it's just not something that we can really get around to applying here in Chicago and Illinois.
What kind of leader or CEO is Mayor Johnson if his own police chief, Snelling, wants these to stay, saying the department needs it?
So you can't disagree with your police chief. You're the authority. He's your appointee.
I don't like the way he's governing, but I didn't vote for that.
Well, whatever.
The guy.
Yeah, right.
We got a guy.
Yeah, no idea.
Know what he's doing.
No idea what these people can do. No idea what these people are doing or can do to you. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
DC Export is celebrating 50 years. With the vision and hard work of their founders, Dominic and Carol Cacciamiglio, dedication of employees and loyal customers, DC Exports has achieved this milestone. DC Export and Domestic Packing Incorporated was founded in 1974. Beginning in a building not much bigger than a garage, the company now boasts 2 Chicago area facilities and a warehouse in Greenville, South Carolina. They offer nationwide packing, crating, container loading and unloading, as well as warehousing with heavy lift capabilities. To ensure proper handling and packing of your shipments, they provide custom-made boxes, crates, skids, and corrosion control solutions. DC Transport provides transportation services throughout America. From container drayage to super heavy haul loads, they can help you move just about anything. Go to dcexport.com to get a quote on packing, crating, transportation, or trade show services. dcexport.com. That's dcexport.com.
Well, I had to go to Quest Diagnostics yesterday and get my blood work done, blood pressure, all that, weight. I had to get weighed, and all that. They see what your BMI is. And I have to tell you, for the first time in a while, my blood pressure is down. It's 115/65. Now, I don't mean to brag, but I'm normally a 130/90 girl. And I'm attributing it to balance of nature, because the doctor asked me, or the nurse technician, what are you doing differently? Wow, this is a big change. I said, well, I've been taking balance of nature, and I explained what it was. And I'm feeling good about it. What about you, Justin? Are you going into Quest Diagnostic to get your work done?
I'm not going into Quest Diagnostics, but I have been feeling better, a lot less sluggish. The sluggish was what was killing me during the day, and now this just keeps me perked up all day.
And I'll keep it coming for you, buddy. Balance of Nature, 31 whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real science, real nutrition. A lot of people who take it are just like Justin. They have increased energy. They don't have to have that cup of coffee by the afternoon. And you have the ability to keep doing things that you love even as you age. So feel good that you're doing something for yourself. Take Balance of Nature, 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
Retirement Outlook.
If your retirement account is mostly stocks or bonds, listen closely. The future of your savings may be more uncertain than ever before. Hi, I'm Paul Stone, CEO of Colonial Metals. The sad truth is, our government continues to eat away at our freedoms and security. In economic times like these, run around the flagpole by lunatics in Washington, I look to the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver that you own. At Colonial Metals, we specialize in helping folks with IRAs and 401ks and other retirement accounts move their savings into physical gold and silver. If you'd like a free gold investment kit, give us a call today at 820-800-8000. My team is standing by ready to rush a free gold investment kit to you. You may also qualify for $7,500 in free silver and a free safe. Call 820-800-8000 now. That's 820-800-8000.
Colonial Metals is not a financial advisor. Consult with your advisor before investing.
That's 820-800-8000.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, Dan, I have the red box here. I'm waiting for you.
I have a special Valentine today, actually.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to talk about it now or later?
That's what's known in the business as a tease. Why don't we whet the appetites of our listeners and anticipation of who my Valentine could be.
Okay.
But it's not Mike Braun who's coming up next after Mike Scott's newscast. We'll talk to Indiana Senator Mike Braun about the Mayorkas impeachment, about the foreign aid legislation, and then maybe after that...
Oh, we'll get to a very special Valentine's Day edition.
Yes,
Dan
indeed.
Proft reveals his crush. All right.
Well, I wouldn't call it a crush. I'm
Oh.
just saying it's my special Valentine today.
Okay.
That's a little bit of a hint, actually.
All right. Well, now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Right now, 30 degrees at 8:32, and President Biden this morning says history will not look kindly on House Republicans for impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Texas Congressman Lance Gooden was in favor.
We've come to this point because our border is not secured. Secretary Mayorkas has ignored the will of the people. He has not followed the laws. He has instructed his department to not follow the laws that are already on the books.
Law enforcement agencies in Wyoming mourning the loss of a longtime sergeant shot and killed during an attempt to serve a trespass warning on Tuesday. One person is dead, 5 are injured after a car crashes into a Texas emergency room in Austin. Today is Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday is the first day of Lent and a day when Catholics and some other Christian denominations receive ashes in the shape of a cross on their forehead. The ashes symbolize from the palms used during the previous year's Palm Sunday Mass. Lent is the 40 days, excluding Sundays, leading up to Easter. This time, Ash Wednesday also falls on Valentine's Day, which has not happened since 2018. However, it will be a while before it happens again. The 2 days converge on the calendar again in 2029. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
We're watching developments this morning in Ukraine, where the Ukraine Navy says they have reportedly destroyed another large Russian military ship in the Black Sea. Defense Department officials there claim the operation was carried out by Ukrainian military intelligence. The landing ship was attacked by Ukrainian drones, sinking to the bottom of the sea. Mayor Brandon Johnson silent after taking the controversial position to not renew Chicago's ShotSpotter contract, going against the wishes of Police Superintendent Larry Snelling and many aldermen, including David Moore.
At this senior building, when they implemented ShotSpotter, those calls went down.
The decision makes good on a campaign promise by Brandon Johnson. The Darien Park District is being sued over claims that a young girl was sexually assaulted on district property. A suit was filed Monday in Cook County Court claiming a figure skating coach sexually assaulted the girl he was training at the Darien Sportsplex between 2016 and 2018. Wilmette residents jammed into council chambers last night, angry that their trustees chose to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Evanston over construction and use of Northwestern's approved Ryan Field. During regular business last night, village president Senta Plunkett said the deal will protect Wilmette streets and residents.
One of the primary concerns we've heard from residents, namely traffic through Wilmette. And critically, this agreement prohibits any demolition, construction, concert setup, or takedown on Wilmette streets.
The agreement limits noise, construction, traffic, and parking. Residents are lining up for a private lawsuit. Bulls take on the Cavaliers tonight. Blackhawks lose to the Canucks. Baseball is back. Cubs and White Sox pitchers and catchers reporting. And the number 14 Fighting Illini, a Big Ten basketball win, blowing out Michigan 97-68. The news, a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew. Anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? Well, you need to call QC Kinetics. Hi, it's Amy Jacobson. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids, cortisone shots, surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Well, don't let this pain keep you from living your best. QC Kinetics' advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility and independence. Walk and run, play and live. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. New locations, folks, in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Special counsel Robert Hur's report on the president's handling of classified documents last week was doubly damning. Not only did Hur conclude the president had willfully kept, mishandled, and disclosed the documents, he then refused to charge Biden on the grounds he was mentally incompetent to stand trial. Not surprisingly, the president pushed back hard. So is the president's memory fine, in which case he should be indicted? Or is his condition as dire as the special counsel reported, in which case he should step aside for the good of the country? There's an easy way to know. The special counsel should release the transcript of the president's deposition. If the Biden administration is as confident in the president's powers as they claim to be, they should demand the transcript's release. And so should we. Let's see for ourselves exactly what happened. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problems, no charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today. FoxValleyCoins.com.
It is 8:38. Let's get an update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. It is a service of Discover. Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations, as always, apply. Eden's inbound 19 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy right now standing in at 36 into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike right now 1 hour from 390 into the old post office, and a heavy 45 inbound on the Stevenson from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Clouds with breaks of sun and a high of 45 today. Currently 30 in sunshine at O'Hare, 31 at Midway, and your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and let's get right to it. We're pleased to be joined by Indiana Senator and Republican gubernatorial candidate Mike Braun. Senator Braun, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be back on.
I saw your statement about the foreign aid package that was voted out of the Senate and sent over to the House, the $95 billion, which included $60 billion for Ukraine, as we talked a little bit earlier in the show, in addition to money for Israel, money for Gaza. There was also sort of this humanitarian aid that gave discretion for the president to use for quote-unquote other vulnerable populations that would be in addition to Ukrainians or Gazans and so forth. And so, one wonders how that could be repurposed in the context of our border problems. Your review of that legislation and those 19 Republican senators who voted it out of the Senate.
Well, number one, in the statement that I made, I hope I mentioned that every penny of this would be borrowed money, which no one mentions that because that's almost become passé in D.C., but this isn't coming out of any offset of anything else, and that's the real issue in the long run is how much that's going to start crippling the federal government, and the fact that you've got then, actually I think it ended up being 22 Republican senators that were on that final passage. There were other procedural votes, but that make the deal with 100% of the Democrats. And I'd ask your listeners to recall when the last time we got even one Democrat on a significant piece of legislation when we run the show, and of course that doesn't happen. So now it is one where it was clear that the southern border has now become an issue to the point where 4 months ago, 41 senators, that's the magic number to keep anything from advancing. You got to have 41, not grant cloture, which means continue a filibuster. And if you don't have that happen, you cannot actually get to the bill. But then McConnell saw where that was going to go down, and the whole ruse of doing a deal that the Democrats would agree to on the border, that border kind of a supplemental bill that we burned 3 months. I knew back then that was just a kind of a way to let folks think that you're interested in it. That fails, and they knew it would because it had no border security in it. That was H.R. 2, which had been sitting in the Senate for about 4 or 5 months that Schumer has no interest in taking up. Now we come to this, and that's the way the place works. And here is why, and I'll let you get back to the next question. I call it the unholy alliance, and that is where these sometimes it just takes 10 to 12 Republicans. In this case, there are enough neocons and people that believe that we should be borrowing money and spending it overseas as opposed to our southern border that make the deal with the Democrats, and that's now amounting to borrowing $2 trillion a year. Just 5 years ago when I got there, it was about $1 trillion. It is shameful in my mind.
Well, I get that the big spenders and the internationalists when it comes to foreign affairs and and maybe they still consider themselves, Cold War warriors with some respects, and this is how they view Russia. But I mean, just the overall play here to, as I think Rand Paul said, give the middle finger to Middle America by saying, after we try to sort of essentially surrender on the border and attach all of this money that you say we're borrowing to spend, then, we scuttle the border piece because that's a non-starter, and we're going to try and jam it down your throats anyway because these are our priorities. I mean, the mentality among some of the, I get sort of, an imperious Mitch McConnell who's been there perhaps a few generations too long. But some of the other rank and file senators, the mentality, I mean, are they that up their own backsides that they don't appreciate what's going on in the country, including their home states?
Well, yeah, and sadly, they'll calculate it if they're had just been elected. In other words, whether they're 2 or 4 years out, especially the ones that don't come around again until 2028, they're even more brazen because they think they can kind of get this to fade into a memory. But the good news is, of the last 17 senators that have been elected, I was talking to some of the folks that, we were talking about, well, how do you do this? Of course, there were 6, 7 senators that stayed up all night, and then the vote was finally held at about 5 or 6 in the morning, Tuesday morning. 15 out of the last 17 senators are leaning away from that traditional neocon borrow money from our kids and grandkids for whatever your latest and greatest is. We still want to lead. I don't think we should give that up. We can't crawl in a hole. But when Trump asks the NATO members to pay their 2%, these guys just laugh that off. But that'll be just like Admiral Mike Mullen said years ago, I fear the red ink more than the red menace. We are getting more senators replacing the ranks of the old guard every year. And there was even a leadership battle in terms of who was going to run the party.
Rick Scott, right.
Roughly, yeah, Rick Scott loved it. He threw his name in the hat. 6 of or 7 of us voted for him and made it public. Another 3 did as well. There are going to be another 6 or 7 from just who's come in 2022, and they build confidence. And now that core of senators is leaning away from this repeat of what you see and frustrates all the folks in our base and even deeper into our own party as a joke.
But what is like John Cornyn, John Thune, Joni Ernst? What do they think of you, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Josh Hawley? I mean, what is sort of the dynamic between the factions, if you will, in the caucus? Because I think people are having a difficult time. I mean, especially as it pertains to the border, even more than the neocon piece of it, especially as it pertains to the border and all of the implications and what's going on. The idea of putting Langford out there the way that McConnell did and Langford agreeing to do it. I mean, what is the philosophical divide, or is it personal, or is it personal interest? Explain the dynamic.
No, I mean it's MAGA versus McConnell, but those aren't defined lines. When you mention folks like Cornyn and Thune and the other John Barrasso, who would generally be with the conservatives, or the 3 that are out there that would be considered the favorites, one of the 3 to be the new majority leader. And I'm hoping somebody from within that growing conservative kind of a part of the party, like a Rick Scott, would try it again. But the difference is not clear. But when I told you earlier that unholy alliance is generally always going to be the folks that put defense on a pedestal to where they, and foreign aid, where they always want it because their focus is not fiscal conservatism. It's not even some of the other issues. It's not even our southern border. That is preeminent. And the Democrats roll them because they don't care how much money you're going to borrow and spend. They're going to match or exceed on the domestic side. And all of them generally would have the underlying reason defense, foreign aid, are sacrosanct. You can't touch it, and then they get rid of their fiscal conservatism, and they hang together. This was a few more than normal because you brought in foreign aid and defense. Those aren't one and the same, but it would generally you saw all the senators that put that as a priority over every other issue, and then get rolled by the Dems.
What about this 17 million that goes to help vulnerable countries? What exactly does that mean?
Well, that means it's a grab bag for whatever Biden would think you need elsewhere. And again, that is subjective. That is going to have a lot of latitude. And was that necessary in this? No. But when you know something's going to go through, which just was inevitable, they load it up rather than pare it down.
So on the border, though, is it just as simple as I'm on Team McConnell and you're on Team Trump, and it really doesn't matter that much what the issue is? I'm casting my lot with McConnell, and not necessarily the those who agree with Trump in opposition to that border bill are throwing their lot with Trump, but they're sort of throwing their lot with the base of the party, and frankly, probably their personal philosophy too, in many cases, including yours. But is that what it is? Is it just sort of juvenile?
That's what the Dems and McConnell want you to think. And now you watch the liberal media is trying to, in a very hypocritical way, say the Republicans are to blame for not getting a border bill. That border bill would have baselined illegal immigration 8 to 10 times what it was at pre-COVID. And in other words, since Biden took over. And then the other thing it would do is you don't even need legislation, technically speaking, because Biden is using the same template, the same legislative substrate as what Trump had. Trump just did it with enforcement in mind. Biden and the Democrats want open borders because they think it benefits them politically. So that's another issue, and you don't want to pass something that legitimizes a level 8 to 10 times what it was. Trump gets elected, and then he's handcuffed on even getting it back to where it was before. That's the ruse. That's the complication.
Right. I understand, but what I don't understand, I still don't understand. I'm trying to get this. Maybe there's not an easy answer. The Republicans who supported that, do they not understand the implications of slow walking to the same destination as the full-on open borders, or do they not care? And if they don't care, why? Why don't they care? Don't they understand the implications?
Again, those Republicans are probably, if you had a pure border bill, I mean, that's why 41 Republicans stuck together. They're going to be for that. Then they get swept into doing them together. I think McConnell was, he's been there long enough. He knew that was going to fail, but then you get rid of the kind of artificial attempt at a fake border bill, then you immediately jump on what at least half of those 22 senators, if not a little more than that, were most interested in was not the border, it would have been the foreign aid component, the supplemental. That sounds confusing, but I think that's about as clear as you're going to get on how the inside ball works. And until we get more Republicans that are not going to fall for that and that put the border and our country's future financially as maybe the two priorities, you're going to get more of the nonsense that you've been witnessing.
Are the Republican caucus going to stand in unison, even though they don't have the votes to convict, in the Mayorkas impeachment? Or are you going to see those same Republicans who peeled off to join the Democrats do them on the Mayorkas impeachment too?
Well, the sad thing is, I'm not sure what Senate protocol is, but
or even if it'll be called. Yeah,
Schumer will sit on that in terms of whatever he can do to keep it either to be a kind of a perfunctory exercise, or if he could keep it from even coming to the floor. And I'm not sure about what the rules are there. He has no interest in that. So that won't go anywhere in the Senate. And then I don't know how many Republican senators, if it did come up, would end up voting to convict, it doesn't make any difference because there wouldn't be one Democrat that would, and you need 2/3 of the Senate on board to convict through an impeachment. So it is all mostly messaging, but I'm glad the House did it because what Mayorkas has done as the implementer and Biden as the band leader, something needs to be done other than saying it's a bad policy.
He is Indiana Senator Mike Braun, also Republican candidate for governor in Indiana come November. Senator Braun, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
This holiday season, did you visit your crawl space to retrieve the Christmas tree and decorations? Are you one who wouldn't venture down there on a bet? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer from Permaseal, and if you're one of the latter, I can't blame you. We've seen some pretty nasty crawl spaces full of mold, mildew, and crawly things. Certainly not a place to store your family treasures. Well, this year, let Permaseal wrap your crawl space up in our Clean Space encapsulation system. Clean Space will transform your dirty, dark crawl space into a bright, clean, valuable storage area where you can confidently store even your most treasured ornaments and mementos. As a bonus, you'll find you'll have warmer floors and cleaner air upstairs. What a wonderful holiday present for the entire family and a great investment in your home. For a free inspection and estimate, call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325 or visit permaseal.net.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They offer the convenience of physician-monitored, self-inject, at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication. If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy shipping treatments directly to you. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. That's Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we have represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts, knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
Pure Talk believes in American values and that free should mean exactly that, free. Well, switch to Pure Talk today and you'll get a free Samsung 5G smartphone. Now, qualifying plans start at just $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data, and, of course, mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, claim your eligibility for your free brand new Samsung 5G smartphone. Start saving on wireless today and switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hurry up, boss. What do you got?
Oh, my Valentine today?
Yeah, I had a great one, but we don't have time. But go.
Former speaker. I'm playing golf with Newt Gingrich.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'll give him your regards. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's
you better
my
hit
Valentine's.
It straight.
That's my Valentine's Day date.
Don't
Speaker
bring
Newt.
music and don't smoke. Are you going to smoke cigars around him?
Yeah, I'll smoke cigars. I don't music. What am I on the live tour? No, I don't think so.
Everybody, Harrison Butker. If you want to find a man, you want to find a man like him. Not just because he's a Georgia Tech grad, but he puts God first and his wife.
The hardest part about being a dad, I think, is sacrificing. You know, you have to be able to put others first. You got to put your wife first and then the children as well. You might want to
do something. He should be your example. 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
What's next? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's the question in Washington after the House, in a 214 to 213 vote, impeached Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, blaming him for record illegal immigration. Congressman Jody Arrington tells Fox.
The guy had no intention of enforcing the laws of the land. He didn't fulfill his sacred oath to his security mission to guard and control the border.
President Biden calls it unconstitutional and petty.
It now heads to the Senate, and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who will serve as one of the impeachment managers, has a message for senators.
They should look at the polling, and they know that our border security is the #1 issue in every single campaign in every single state.
It stands a slim chance of passing with Democrats in control, but Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's office says impeachment managers will present the articles to senators when they return from recess.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. The slim Republican majority in the House will shrink even more after Democrat Tom Suozzi won a special election in New York to fill the seat vacated when Congress expelled Republican George Santos.
They've had it. They want us to come together and solve problems.
Suozzi beat Republican Mazi Pilla by almost 8 points. Defense Secretary